Hello, everybody. Is your microphone all right? I've just put my microphone on here. So let us know if that's okay, if you can hear us okay. Yep. It's the first time I've done this with a schedule live stream. So I was trying to work out how to get this to work, but it's come on. It's a bit different to StreamYard because StreamYard is a bit of a different setup. And I know that the best thing about this one, the best thing about the YouTube live stream is the fact is you can have subscribers only on the chat. So it means that you're not getting any spam on it. So that's why I like doing these ones, let's say once every month. So this is my October one. So I don't think I can't put these things on the screen. Or can I? Don't think I can. So I'll go through the messages at the minute. So Niels Johansson says, I will be here too, because Cheekster had said before that he was going to be here. And I think he is. And computers. So Cheekster777 says, good morning, John. Hope you are well on this lovely October morning. I'm going to try and do this without my glasses. Yes, I'm all right, actually. It is a nice October morning. It was a bit bleak this morning, a bit dark, but it seems to have turned the corner. It seems to be pretty nice. And Cheekster also says, closing in on 3K subscribers. Well, weirdly enough, I am. And it's a strange thing to be talking about that because the figures to me, are a bit crazy, if I'm honest. But I'm so appreciative of everybody who's subscribed to the channel. And it's great to know that it's went somewhere. Now the thing about the 3K subscribers is it's such a monumental landmark figure for me. Any sort of landmark figure is one for me. But 3,000 is something that personally, when I first started the channel, I never ever thought I would get anywhere near that in the whole lifespan of my channel. So the fact I'm hitting it, I thought I would never achieve that. But the fact I'm hopefully going to achieve that by the end of the year, I would think that'd be great. And I can sort of just say, well, a big thank you about that. And it's great to think that that's happened in the lifespan of my channel. So really, really happy about that. So thanks to everybody who's subscribed, and also thanks Cheekster for saying that. And Cheekster777 is someone who always comments on my videos, so I really appreciate that as well. So Sophie's Retro Revival says, hey John, hope you're well. Yeah, pretty good, not so bad at all. I've got a bit of a not sore throat, but a bit of a sort of frog in my throat. That's why I've got me ever faithful Hall's mentholyptus, which keep us going. But apart from that, I'm all right. So Sophie also says, me and Jason need to message you about a meetup. Yes, yeah, that would be great. I know we've talked about that previously, but if we could have a meetup, that would be excellent. I think that's something I would love to do, and we have talked about it quite a few times. It'd be great to talk to you in person, you and Jason. So that would be excellent. I could show you all around Newcastle, the little sort of bits that I know of it. Well, I know quite a lot of it. But I don't know if it would interest you, the stuff I do, which is basically coffee shops. So Cyberman says, hello, John. Have you seen The Lair of the White Worm? I have. I saw it a long time ago. And if I'm honest, I didn't really care for it. But it's funny, some of these movies that I look at from way back when, I do go and revisit them every now and again. And I find sometimes I can really enjoy them. And that's a good thing, I think, because sometimes when you're young, you watch these things and they're all kind of, I would say, I don't know. I think that's... when you sort of look at them when you're young, you've got a different mindset. And when you look at them when you're older, sometimes you can see a different movie. There's plenty of times in this whole YouTube journey I've been on that when I've been talked about a movie, then someone said, oh, you've got to see this movie. And I said, I hated it back in the day. And they say, give it another shot. And I've given it another shot. And I've really, it's really worked for us, So it might be something that I will check out again. But I remember when I first saw it, I just didn't really get it. But I can't remember too much about it, so I think it might be due a revisit. But thanks for that, Cyberman. I think that there's a lot of movies that I need to look at. Actually, the movies I've been looking at this month, there's quite a few, or the few that I've checked out in that ilk, of the fact that I've went to revisit them and I've had a much different experience with them, either good or bad. So that's one to look out for at the end of the month when I tell you what I've watched this month. I watched quite a few movies, actually. Mike says, you well deserve to get 3K, John. Brilliant channel. Thanks very much, Mike. I do appreciate that. And I think that, like I say, it's just one of those things when you think it's the numbers are strange on YouTube. I think that anybody who starts a channel who thinks this number, that number, you never know what's coming until you actually get on it. So for me, like I say, I never thought I'd go anywhere near 3,000. It seemed out of reach. But I think basically what you need to do is just keep plodding away. Just come on, do your stuff, and just keep up a sort of presence on YouTube, and you kind of go to where you're going to go, wherever that may be. And I'm quite very pleased to be where I am. So it's great, really is. Sophie's Retro Revival says, well, Soph says, tour of Newcastle sounds like a plan. Yes, it does. Well, it depends when you come. I can show you around things. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what you want to see, because there's plenty of stuff to see here. Plenty of good places to eat. So yeah, I could show you some sort of like things that you don't really see. If you just walk, if you get off the train and then you come to Newcastle, you probably just go through the kind of thoroughfare, was straight up into Newcastle, and you don't kind of branch out. But I could take you to other places that you might like to watch. I don't know if you like watching these sort of places where you see places of interest. I don't know if you're into that, but I might be able to go to somewhere where I can show you something. Say, look at this. This was such and such. This was that. Who knows? But we'll do something when you come up, definitely. So Car Boot Mania says, what's your favorite Ken Loach film? Recently, I watched I, Daniel Blake, and sorry we missed you. Really enjoyed both. Well, if I'm honest, I loved I, Daniel Blake, and the fella who plays Daniel Blake used to, and I don't know if he still lives, used to live down the road in Whitley Bay. Used to see him quite a lot. David, someone I think he's called, and he was on the telly quite a bit. He's a comedian, and I used to see him when he was on the telly. I thought, oh, that's him from down the road. I don't think he lives there anymore, but it was great to see him make good in that movie, which was a spectacular movie. So my favorite Ken Loach film, I'm going to say, if it is Ken Loach, and I think it is Raining Stones. Is that a Ken Loach film? I know he made every film that I've seen of his. What's the other one that I like? With the two girls. Sometimes the names, because to be honest, well, I did. I don't know if you know that I saw Ken Loach in Newcastle. I was walking through Newcastle with Deborah, and he wore pastors, and I went, "There's Ken Loach," and she said, "Who?" I says, "Well, the director of I, Daniel Blake." She says, "Who?" I says, "Well, it doesn't matter." But anyway, actually, what I do is that's a bit of a lie, because when we go past the place where when Daniel Blake lived, the flats, I always point out and go, "Did you know that Daniel Blake lived there?" And she goes, "Shut up about that," because I tell her every time I go past. I like annoying you, when I'm in the car. But I'm going to say Raining Stones if I had to come down on one. But I've got to say, everyone I've seen his movies has been absolutely brilliant. And I think he's an amazing director. And I'm so glad that he's from the Northeast, and he's sort of champions the Northeast as well, and tells some great stories, because the stories he tells are quite realistic. It's not sugar-coated. It's basically what you see is what you get. And I'm not involved with the stuff that he's involved with unemployment in the Northeast, but I know it's pretty bad and pretty real. Whatever was in that film was pretty real. Blue American 40, Blue American 840. Morning, John. 4:30 in the morning here. Listening as I get ready for work. Well, I hope your day at work is good, and I hope it's not too bad. I hope you don't have any problems wherever you're at work, but have a good day at work. And I do appreciate you watching. It's amazing when people watch from different parts of the world and they tell you where it is and what time it is. Okay, well, it's obviously 10:39 now here. Man Cave's Movies. Chris, good morning, John. Have you on while reading the papers? Oh, sorry. Have you on while I'm reading the papers? Watched the 99 last night. not a bad little film. Oh, sorry, watch VHS. I might need to put these glasses on, you know. Watch VHS 99 last night. Not a bad little film. Well, I haven't. I know VHS, and I'm sure that's a sequel to it, or it's like a follow up or something. I do know a thing that I will check them out. I need to check VHS out. I haven't checked it out at all. But I know a lot of people go on about it. But yeah, I've seen a few people mention that, Chris, and I think that it does look like one of the movies that seems like it's one of the ones I would like as well. I watched X the other day, and that's going to talk about that when on me what I've watched this month. Sophie says, I love sightseeing. Not sure about Jason. Well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to drag him around some places. Maybe not for the full day, but we'll definitely get you to a few places. So it's all about us, not about one individual. You know what I mean? Man Cave Movies. Chris says my favorite Ken Loach film was Sweet 16. Was filmed in my hometown of Greenock. I auditioned for the film when I was 17. Wow. Infant of Ken Loach. He is an interesting character. So did he get in the film, Chris? I haven't seen Sweet 16. I haven't seen Sweet 16. If I have seen it, I can't remember it. But that's incredible. That Car Boot Mania says Kes is my favorite film. My favorite, but hard to pick just one. Kes, brilliant film. Very hard to watch. I can't. After seeing the full film, I think I saw it twice. I didn't like the ending at all. So for me, I'll never revisit it. But I think that the film is brilliant. And the fella who plays the Brian Glover, is it Brian Glover? He plays the gym teacher. I've seen him wrestle in the City Hall in, I'm going to say 1974, something like that. And we used to go to wrestling all the time. Me and my dad. It was crazy. And he was on there. And he was telling everyone to shut up. He was a great character as a wrestler. And also, Kes used to see him a lot of time because Deborah's from Barnsley. I used to go down to Barnsley quite a lot to see him, mum and dad. In Barnsley Town Centre, I've seen the actor who plays Kes quite a few times not wandering around, just going around his business. So it's quite funny because he looks exactly the same, just a grown-up version of Kes, which is, well, not Kes, but the fella in Kes. Soph says, Kes broke me, but a fantastic film. Yeah, exactly. I couldn't have put it better myself, because that's what it is. I didn't expect it to do what it did, but it did. But that's Ken Loach. He tells it like it is, and wow, he doesn't shy away from much, does he? Mike says, Powerhouse announcements for January tomorrow, John. Hope you get some more Hammer films. Well, madly enough, mad coincidence again. The fact is that I just ordered 3 Hammer films last night from Powerhouse, and I'll tell you what they are when they come in. Big fan of Hammer, as you know, and yes, the more the merrier. There's still, I'm going to think that I've got in my mind there's 42 Hammer horror films. I could be wrong about that, but I think I'm not close to collecting them all, but I'm halfway through. So I'd love them to put out the ones that don't seem to get a good UK release that much, like Frankenstein Created Woman. What a film. But yeah, so yeah, that'd be great. That'd be interesting. The Comic Room says, good morning, John. I am new to your channel, having seen you mentioned by John at the movie review channel. Yeah, that's John Clancy. That is brilliant. I'm sure you have explained this before, but what is the story behind your channel name? Well, yeah, I've got a video about it somewhere in the channel. The short story is that I was in a band with my friends at school. I'm still in that band now, although I don't do that much, but every now and again we get together. And that band was called Demolition Progress. And it's a good name to have, because the band is like listening to Demolition Progress, which we all agree on. And so what happened was, when Demolition Progress split up, and for a long time, both got back together. We're not going to ever split up again, even if we never do anything again, if that makes sense. So what I did was, in 2005, I got this sort of studio thing, which I've got in my garage there. And that's how I record all my music on. And I had to think of a band name for myself, because it's only me, but I get people in to help us out from time to time, like vocals and stuff, or guitar solos. So I was looking at, I wrote down loads of names for band names, which is none of them seem to work. But anyway, I come across Mondo Chelloveck, and I thought, right, that's going to be my band name. So from 2004, I think that was my band name, and that still is today. Now, when I did the channel, I thought I've got to think of something here, and that if I put John's movies, it's so generic, no one will ever know it. It'll just go up and fly by. I think there's got to be something that's a bit memorable. And I thought, hang on a minute, Mondo Chelloveck, because I can incorporate my music, which I haven't done that much on my music, but I really want to do something on my music. Got to tidy my garage up first, and then I'll start to do things on the music. I've got all the equipment to do it. It's just finding the space for it. So that's why this is called Mondo Chelloveck Movies, because I stick the movies on the end. So Mondo Chelloveck means Mondo, I would say, is the genre of these movies like Faces of Death, Traces of Death, Shock in Africa, where they show like real life murder, and it's pretty grotesque. I just like Mondo. But if you go past, I know I'm stupid, if you go past places like Poundland and you look in the ball pit, they've got Mondo written on it. And I think that's Italian for lifestyle, although it's Italian for world. But that's the way I'm looking at it. So I'm thinking Mondo means lifestyle to me. And Chelloveck is from my favorite book, A Clockwork Orange. And Chelloveck means a young man. So it means actually lifestyle of a young man. Now, I was a young man or a younger man in 2004. So that's the reason behind it, the comic room, because I want to do something that was just a little bit different. That might stand out. And also, when I do music in it, people are going to not be confused. So any music you hear on here is obviously Mondo Chelloveck movie, recorded anytime from 2004 till now. In fact, I want to get that tidied out so I can get the music back on the go, because I want to do my next album is going to be me doing soundtrack music, which sounds like a soundtrack, highly influenced by Carpenter and all the stuff from the Italian cinema. That's what I want to do. I've got all the equipment in there. I've got all these effect things. I've got these kind of things that put all these weird sort of computer stuff on. I've got this little box as well, which I haven't worked out yet. I can put on my computer and actually it's like a keyboard thing. It's like a MIDI thing or whatever. I want to do. I've had that in the cupboard for yonks, but that's all going to happen sometime. So that's, Mondo Chelloveck means lifestyle of a young man. Wow. Man Cave Movies, Chris says, I didn't get the part, but my friend did. Martin Compton, I think that's right. Was a great experience. Well, I can imagine anything to do with that. Now, flipping that, I've told us before, when the film Get Caught, and my dad took us down in a pram to actually get a walk-on part and Get Caught. He didn't get it, so don't look out for me and Get Caught because I wasn't there. I mean, this is just what my dad told us. But so it's brilliant to hear that people do get these parts in movies. And I'm hearing it quite a few times, actually, that the people on here, or friends of people on here, do actually get to experience working on a movie. That would be brilliant. I would love that. I know a lad I used to go to school with, a fella called Ainsley Story. He's in a movie with Stephen Graham. It's called Orthodox, where he plays a fellow who's like a boxer, kind of like a bare knuckle boxer, and he's just an extra, but he's in that film. If you've ever seen the film, at the start of it, he's a big bloke, Ainsley, and he's got a flak, like a sort of what's it called, camouflage jacket on. He's got a baldy head and a beard. So if you see that film and see him in it, that's Ainsley's Story. He used to go to school, but he's a good kid, but a big lad. Don't mess with Ainsley. Clark Teddle says, hi John, hope you're well. Yes, I'm doing quite well, actually. I do like doing these live streams once every month. It's in the morning time. I know I could do them on the evening, but I want these to be just a little bit different, a little bit of a, I mean, obviously you can get on catch up, but you can just have these things where you can just crack on with people, and hopefully when I'm on here I can get through all of the comments you see. That's the best thing about this, doing it in the morning. You feel a bit more relaxed with the comments, and you're not like missing people out. So that's one of the reasons why I like doing this this morning stream. But I'm doing all right, Clark. I don't know, what time is it in your place, because you're from Australia. So I hope it's not a crazy time for you, Clark, but I suspect it is. It's either early in the morning or very late at night. So says me and Jason have wrote a list of 31 films to watch up until Halloween. We have watched 2 so far. Well, so if you wouldn't be the only one, I tell you what, I tried maybe last year or the year before to do this 31 days of horror. I haven't got a hope in hell to do that. Even if I watched 30 on one day and then watch one for the rest of the month, I can't do it. I'll take my hat off to people who can do that. I think that it's a mission to do that, and I would love to do it. Don't get us wrong, but it's tough. And it's funny because everyone starts off with saying this is it: 31 days, one day, one film a day isn't going to be hard, but it's really hard. I've watched a lot of films thus far this month for me, and I think I've only watched about maybe 15, 20 at the most. So, and that's me hammering it. Sometimes I'm watching 4 a day, so not every day. But that's one of them things, isn't it? So Kai, it's Eel Kai Eel. I think that's right, but I'll call him Kai. Hi, John. Hey, John. Long time no see. What have you been watching over the spooky season? Well, I was just saying that I've watched quite a lot of movies, and I don't want to give away what I've been watching, but I've watched a few franchises I've watched, which I'll sort of rank on this video at the end of the month. I've watched some silent movies, and I've watched. I'll tell you what. There's a channel or a sort of app on my TV. When you put the TV on, it's like Google TV, and it comes up with this thing called Plex. I don't know if anybody knows about it. The only problem with Plex is it's got adverts on it. So you watch a movie, you're watching it, and it will put about the 3-minute slots, and you can't fast forward them. That's the way to get the movie on for free, or you can pay for it to have the things taken off. But on this Plex, there's loads and loads of obscure horror films that I've been either want to see or want to revisit for a long time, or check out. So there's ones that I've checked out and thought I would have immediately got this from the States because I can't get the Blu-ray over here, and I paid a bit of money for it. And then when I watched it, I thought, I'm really glad I didn't, because my previous memory of these movies has been really good. And then when you watch them again, you think, wow, that's not as good as I thought it was. Or I'm pleased I've watched it, but I don't think I'd ever watch it again. Or there's other movies where I thought, wow, this is brilliant. I will go and search it out. So I've been watching a lot of movies, and you'll find out at the end of the month. I know that sounds a bit daft not to tell you any of them, but I've watched X. I've watched all the Ghostbusters after not liking the Ghostbusters at all when it came out. So more about that at the end of the month. And obviously some Nosferatu. I've watched Coming to Dr. Caligari. I've watched some Star Trek as well. I've watched 2 Star Trek films. Going to watch the 3rd one today, hopefully. So I watched quite a lot of stuff. But what I need to do is keep you in suspense to the end of the month. Because if I tell you everything about it, you won't watch the video, will you? No, I'm only kidding. But it's I've had a good month, actually. I've watched more films than I've usually watched. I usually don't get that many watched. It's due to work or just going out and about. So it's good. It's about getting your balance right in it. But thanks for that question. And just you'll find out at the end of the month. Yeah. So Paul Mahon says, "Morning, John. I watched Halloween Ends, and I was disappointed." Well, I haven't seen Halloween Ends, but Paul Mahon and myself had a good chat the other night over Instagram. It was great, actually, to speak to him, and we had a really good sort of like chit chat about everything. And I appreciate him phoning us up, and so we'll have more chats for definite. And I'm not. There's not many people who have got much love for Halloween Ends. Now, not many people liked Halloween Kills, and I thought it was brilliant. So hopefully, I can get rid of all the spoilers, and then try to watch it without spoilers whenever that comes out. Probably the 4K will come out without a slip, as it always does, but never mind. So I'm interested to see it, but yeah, Paul, I'm hearing more bad than good. I'm getting a little bit of a flavour what it's all about, and I don't know how it ends, but yeah, how disappointing if you've got like this really. It's not a bad trilogy, the new one, but to have it to be like to to go out with a whimper is not what you want, is it? But yeah. But yeah, Paul, I'm hearing that a lot, unfortunately, which is after Halloween Kills, which I thought was like really good. I thought they could have built on that, but maybe they haven't. So Source says, I haven't been in a film, but I've been on the news. Would you like to elaborate that, Soph, at all? I hope it wasn't for anything bad. Just kidding. Magpie Movies, Geordie Paul says, morning, John, dear from work. Tell you what, mate, I really do a live stream. Just you and me, a Geordie stream. Need to let me know when your availability. Well, the thing, it's funny because I've had a few, not many people, but a few people say, do you want to do a live stream and stuff like that? And I'm like, yeah, but I've got like I've got commitments at the moment with live streams. And I've also got me live stream with when I'm doing the video nasties live stream, which is it's a great stream. I love that stream, and that's got some legs on it. That's going to be around forever, which is great, and we are getting such good feedback from that. So yeah, I'm going to say that yeah, definitely, but it's the time thing for this. It's just a hard one to say because I've got a few that I've said yes to, and I'm trying to work them out. I've got 4 that I've said yes to, so I'm trying to put them in the mix to try and do them off. But yeah, a Geordie stream. If we talk too much Geordie, no one will understand us. But on a slight note, you've got to keep Geordie Paul. Geordie Paul. Don't go back to Paul. You've got to keep Geordie Paul. That's my 10 penneth on that one. So Magpie Movies says, watch Barbarian last night. Was a 7 out of 10 for me, but only just. I've heard a little bit about that. Haven't seen. It's funny because I don't watch trailers anymore. I've sort of really given. The only ones I watch is from way back when. You know, if you want to watch something crazy, you know, you want to watch a film that you want to check out for years and you haven't seen it, but you'll go back and watch the movie, the trailer. I'll always watch the trailer after I watch a film. But all these new films, I do not watch the trailers for because, to be honest, the trailers for the new ones, they give everything away. So you go into it knowing practically everything of the movie sometimes, which is a shame. But yeah, I don't know anything more about Barbarian. And is it an A24 movie? Could be. And if that's the case, well, obviously we're never going to get a 4K for about 3 years, which is a bit of a joke. Soph says, the 2 films we watched were It 2017 and The Book of Monsters. I haven't heard of Book of Monsters, I don't think. But I really enjoyed the first one. The second one was all right. It wasn't brilliant, but it was okay. I just think it was a bit too long. I think they could cut half an hour out of it. It would be a much better movie. I knew it was going to be long, but I just think that sometimes you just think, why do you need to put all this stuff in? I think they should have, especially at the cinema, should have a shorter version. And if they want to put like a big, huge director's cut out, put it on a disc somewhere with the theatrical cut. And then you've got them both. I think when they put like the big, huge one out, I know they're going to do a super cut, they say, which I couldn't sit through. It's far too long. I think it would spoil it, actually. But yeah, so It and Book of Monsters. Yeah, don't know anything about that one, though. Bumpers Movies, Craig says, morning, John. All right, Craig. Grabbed a few new Arrow releases. Have you seen Hell High, Deadly Games, Shock? Thoughts on any of them? I've got them all. I haven't watched Hell High or Deadly Games, although I put them on and they do look really nice. You know, the presentation looks excellent, and also the picture quality looks brilliant on it. But Shock is absolutely brilliant. And I would imagine you probably got that for about 10 quid, which is a great price to get it with a slip, I hope. It's got a lovely slip on it. I would say, for me, if I'm honest, Shock is one of the best Mario Bava movies, although it's one of his later movies. And a lot of people say it's not that good, but when I put it on, I thought, this is really good, It kind of reminds us a little bit like, I don't know, it reminds us of a movie a bit like, not like The Shining, but it's got like that bits of there's a kid in it, and he's got this like the problem in the house where there's these sort of like ghosts events are happening. It all explains itself, but it's got some good stuff in it, and it's got one of the best jump scares you will ever see in your life. Now, it's not one of these ones in the new jump scares where it's just like music blasting and, you know, you do get frightened of the music. It's not a true jump scare, but this one really got me. So I highly recommend you watch that. 1977, I believe. But the other two, they look quite interesting, but I haven't checked them out yet. If you check them out, tell us what you think. I think Keith checked out Hell High and he said it was all right. It wasn't too bad. Car Boot Mania says Ken Loach Blu-ray collection is a 50% off at HMV if anyone's interested. Has 3 films on it. I wonder what them 3 films are. I'll tell you what's coming out, which I was shocked to see. I'm shocked at the price of it. But another thing that I thought, I've really got to get this, but it's got to come down a bit. I think it's £229. Is the complete, well, it's not the complete, but it's a lot of films by the director, the German director, Wim Wenders. And he's made some brilliant movies. And I think some of them are 4K. There's a 4K of a movie called The American Friend, which is brilliant. And also a movie, The Wings of Desire, which is sensational, black and white. Even though the 1980s they were made. And I would love to get that. Well, I will get that one, but not at £229, I tell you. And I hope it doesn't sell out and then it becomes like £999, which is far too much out of reach. But I think they're coming out separately as well, the movies. I know Wings of Desire is, but I think that's about £20-30. So is it, well, the box set would be better, but it's too expensive at the minute. But yeah, so the Ken Loach Blu-ray collection, I do like Ken Loach, and I do think I need more of his movies. I used to have quite a lot of them on VHS, actually, and then sort of just didn't upgrade them at all. Maybe on a few DVDs, but not enough to sort of, I don't think I kept them when I sort of moved on to the other things. Well, I know I haven't got them anymore. Red Room Antics. Just joined, sorry if this has been asked. What is your favourite Marilyn Monroe movie? Seen the photos hanging in the background of some videos, and I meant to ask before. Well, Marilyn is up there, looking down, and we've also got, as you come down the stairs, there's a picture of Marilyn as you come down. I mean, what better way to start your life, your day off, to come down the stairs looking at Marilyn Monroe? I think that's it's one of them things that, you know, you put it and you just think there couldn't be a better place on the stairwell, you know, to welcome your day with a bit of Marilyn. So, but the thing of that is, she's my wife's favorite actress. My wife loves Marilyn Monroe, and she's the one who watches everything about her. I mean, we watch movies together, but I haven't watched a movie of hers for a long time. But by far, for me, the movie that is my favorite Marilyn Monroe movie is Some Like It Hot. I think it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life, and I loved it. I loved it when I saw it when I was a kid, and I've just, one of the movies when you go back to and you think, is this one that you're not going to like anymore? And you love it, and you like it even more. Every time you see it, you like it even more. So Some Like It Hot for me, although I do need to go back to some of her movies and look at them again, because I think we used to watch them all the time. We haven't really watched many Marilyn Monroes. We seem to watch more stuff about her than actually her movies, funny enough. Source says, if you want custom slips, watch Jason's latest video. He recommended a seller from SD, I think it's called. Yes, I watched it, and the slips on there were fantastic, and I will be getting in touch with this fella. There's a couple of slips I would love to have, and I think this fella does print them off, get them like custom made, which is brilliant, and he does a great job with it. So Jason's video is brilliant that he showed off his if you haven't seen it, go and check out Jason Brett's latest video, or one of his latest videos, that shows you these slip covers he's got. So I would urge anybody to go across and see them, more like a slip box actually. And the one I really want would be Last Action Hero, because there's no slip for it. The cover on Last Action Hero is diabolical, although the movie itself, the presentation on the 4K, is spectacular. But yeah, so I would do take a look at that, and yes, I will be checking that seller out, because it seems like an amazing service that this bloke can do. And the thing is, though, why shouldn't somebody be able to do that? Because there's a market for them, and people do want them. And you know, the fact that you can't get them on release, which, you know, it must be because if they print them off and they print off a lot of them, it's cheaper for them to print off. So print off a lot of them and just put them on the things. I don't think it costs that much extra. Or right, if it's a short run, you have to pay more for it. But you know what I'm like about me slipcovers, so I think everything should have the start of a run should have a slipcover, especially on a 4K, because you pay a lot extra for it. Soph says, I was on the news with my mum for getting stuck on the Brighton 1360. I am sweet and innocent. I know you are. So what's the Brighton 1360? Oh, is that ride or something? Is that right? I'm guessing at that. But so you got stuck on there. Wow. If it was like a big wheel, did you get stuck at the top? When I was working at the Spanish City in Whitley Bay, which used to be down there, it was brilliant. I will have to do some videos on what happened, what the things that used to happen in that place was just absolute nuts. You've never worked in a place till you've worked in the Spanish City in Whitley Bay. But they had two big wheels actually. One was a smaller one, but they had the big wheel, and there was this lad who used to work on it. He's a bit of a crackpot actually, and he says that he used to get people on there because the boat was like used to sit in it, and he used to do that. You know, they used to rock because that's, you know, how they used to turn when they used to go around. So you stay in level and you weren't falling out. So you would say to like girls when you used to go on the ride, can I have your phone number? And they would say, no, not at all. Can I meet you? No, not at all. So he said, right. So what he would do is, can you believe this? He would send the ride up to the top. He would climb up the side of the ride. I mean, it's kind of high. And you would get on the thing and start rocking the thing until I give him the phone number. Can you actually believe that was a thing? But I'll never forget that. So yes, but some of the stories is just insane. That's the thing I remember about big wheels. If it was a big wheel or it's sort of sitting in a box thing. So Niels Johansson says, good day, John. Good day, Niels. Hope you're doing all right, mate. And Soph says, I'm going to go grab some early lunch. Take care. You too, Soph, and get in touch with us about meeting up. I think that'd be great, actually. I was thinking about that the other day, you know, and you thought, oh, we haven't met up yet. Time goes by too quick. Car Boot Mania, the 3 films on it are Riff Raff, Rain and Stones, yes, and Ladybird. Ladybird, £20 at HMV in the sale. That's not bad at all, actually. Rain and Stones has got a great performance from the fella who played Les Battersby. And when he came in, when I saw him on Coronation Street, I thought, I can't believe that he's on this. But the realness of that movie, I think it's about this bloke who wants to buy a confirmation or a First Holy Communion dress for his daughter, and he hasn't got the money, so he's got to go to the money lenders, and then he gets the dress for his daughter, and then the money lenders come knocking at his door for this money back. I tell you what, the money lender in that, he's brutal, and he's a scary fella. Haven't seen him in anything else, but you know, when you watch something, you think, I bet he's like that in real life. But what a performance that Les Battersby character gives. Not the character, but you know, the actor. But yes, so that's. I think I've seen Riff Raff, and I haven't heard of Ladybird. But if it's him, if it's his movies, I know when I go into it, I will get something out of it. It's not as if I'm going to a director who's made like rubbish films, because I think literally everything he does is a touch of class. He probably made a film called A Touch of Class as well. Bumpers Movies says, will you double dip on Maniac and get the new 88 release to go along with the 4K? Well, yes, I'm going to have to, because it's in the Slasher collection, which that's number 50, and I've got the other 49. So it would be crazy not to do it. Unfortunately, I don't really want to do it, pay £20 for it. But then again, I want to get a slip on it. So I'm locked into that one. But what I'm thinking of is, though, I'm pretty sure with there being a 4K out there in the world, and this is a 4K transfer, I bet you they do a 4K of it later on, which I won't get. But if they do it in the same line as the red box things, I will swap them over and get the 4K and get rid of the Blu-ray. I think I don't really want to do it. I don't like double dipping at all, especially when Maniac or by Blue Underground, the 4K is that good that I don't want to get it. I don't want to get it again. Don't need to get it again. But unfortunately, it's in with that set, that range, so I've got to do it. But so I think if you picked that up, Craig, I'm sure you have. Someone has anyway. I've seen it on somebody's thing. Niels Johansson says Bus Stop is my favorite Marilyn Monroe movie. Well, I'm trying to think the ones. I can't really remember her. I can remember watching the ones. There's a serious one as well that I can't remember about, but I can't remember what it is, but it's a really good one. There's the one where she's with Laurence Olivier. I did see the movie that was A Week with Marilyn, which was quite a good one, actually. The person who played Marilyn was brilliant. But I do think that it just missed something as well, and it painted her out to be so unreliable at a movie set, with Laurence Olivier was pulling his hair out, what was left of it, with frustration, because she was just always, there's something the matter with her, mentally. But yeah, so I do think that for me, the thing about the Marilyn movies is that the main thing about that is I do need to revisit them. The best thing about it is that Deborah loves Marilyn Monroe, as I've said, so she would watch them, no problem. So it's not a thing. She'd probably buy myself if I said, "You want to go and buy a Marilyn movie?" The only one we've got is Some Like It Hot, which is brilliant. So that's the one I would watch. There's got to be some online somewhere. I might check some out. Maybe get some on Sky Movies and just see what they're like after all this time. Maybe Bus Stop is the one I'm thinking of. Bumpers Movie says, I contacted that guy about Slips. He's doing me a nice zombie one for my Blue Underground 4K. Well, now that's amazing. And this fella, the quality that Jason had on his Slips was amazing. Now I would imagine, and I'm going to ask Craig this, that with it being the smaller box, does he do the Slips to incorporate a smaller case? Because it's thinner cases. Does he not? I don't know. Well, you obviously would know that it's a smaller case. I don't know if you can do that yourself. Let us know in the comments if you can sort of do that, because the one I think I want 10. Overload is another one I would like, because I know there's a slip, but I've never seen a slip on that ever. It's one of those ones that completely slips off the radar and just never ever comes back. It's one of these things. So I just see that Craig says, yes, John, he does them for and I would say that the slimmer, yes, the thinner ones. Yeah, brilliant. In that case, I think there's a couple of the thinner ones I wouldn't mind. I know there's a Doctor Who one that I got, and when I got it, it said there was a slip case on the Doctor Who one, and it never come on one, which I was a bit annoyed with. But when you got it for about £6, that's Twice Upon a Time. Actually, getting back to, but slightly diverting with Doctor Who, I thought that the last one that was on, the one with the last part of when what you call again, can't remember the name, but she changes to the next Doctor. I thought that was the best one I've seen of that particular Doctor Who. But the main thing I've got is the fact is that Chibnall hopefully will not write another Doctor Who story, because every time I've seen any one of his things, it's just left as a bit of kind of just thinking, what on earth was that about? I don't think there's well, all I'm saying is I just hope the writing gets better, and I get back better to them sort of moments in those, especially the specials, where you get that bit kind of whoa feeling, which was in there a bit. You saw quite a lot of throwbacks, which were good, but they just weren't done as good as they were previous. Like that Twice Upon a Time, I think, was a brilliant story with the first Doctor and the Peter Capaldi Doctor. But anyway, I've got that in 4K, so I've got a few that I could get them slipcovers for. I'm sure I'll be getting in touch with that fella. Danny Duke says, hi, hope all is well. Yeah, everything's going great, Danny. I was talking to Danny, and he's give us some money on one of my live streams, and I've got a special thing. I want to get something special with it, and I've got a special thing in mind. And I've told Danny that that's coming up soon, and I'll do a dedicated video to that. Just want to thank Danny once again for that. But yes, I'm all right. I'm eating these because I've got like, I've had it for yonks. It's like a sort of I'm gonna say like something on my chest. I should go to the doctors and get some antibiotics for it, and I've had it for months, and it's just never gone. And if I'm honest, when I do a video before I cut it, I think the video I done the other night, which was it some pickups? I think it was, and it was 40 minutes long, and I cut it down to 12. I think it was 12 minutes. Most of that was me coughing. Can you believe it? Or clearing my throat. So yeah. So wow. I don't know why I said that, but I did. But yes, I am pretty good. Apart from that, it just makes the videos take longer to record, you know. But hey, thank God for editing. If I didn't have the editing thing, you'd just be listening to 40 minutes of me coughing. Wow. Paul Mahon says, Ghostland is a good psychological horror. I have the Steelbook. I think Keith from Euphoria Pictures has it too. Is that the? Oh yes, Ghostland. Yes, there's one called Incident in Ghostland as well, but there's another one called Ghostland. I think I've seen that one. I haven't seen it, but I think I've seen it mentioned. Bistolian Dave's here with "Alright, me babbers." I think that's brilliant. That's how he says it, and I just love that's one of the best introductions to a video ever. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's one of the ones that you just think, you know, it's just great. It's unique. I like it because it's unique. I like good introductions, and that for me is right up there. Or eat me babbers. In fact, I do say that to Deborah quite a lot of times. She says, "What are you talking about?" I says, "Oh, you wouldn't understand." So Dean Humphreys says, "Sorry I'm late, John. Hopefully you're both well, and I'm really looking forward to the upload today. P.S. Thanks for the recommendations on the Video Nasties 1 and 2 DVD just received from them at the weekend." Oh, is that the DVDs? Yes, the DVDs from Nucleus, where it tells you all the things about the nasties on it, and they have them explained. That's brilliant. It's one of the best things you can ever see. If you want to, even just in general, if you want to see something about, you know, the fantastic thing that's happened called the Video Nasties, that's by far the best thing to see. But I was surprised that they're actually still available. But you'll love them if that's them. I'm pretty sure it is. So Bristolian Dave says, working and listening at the same time. Well, for me, I hope you don't write anything down when you're working, you know, as in to say, you know, hello everybody, Video Nasties and stuff like that. Tom Pearson says, morning John, have you seen a movie called Revenge of Billy the Kid, 1991? It's about a horny farmer who has a relationship with a goat, which has a child out for revenge. No, I haven't actually. I think I would have remembered that one. That's a strange one, Tom, I've got to say. Revenge of Billy the Kid. It sounds like a movie that I should have seen, but after you've talked about it, no, I haven't. It reminds me a little bit of the Woody Allen film where he has his compilation film, and he has Gene Wilder in, who falls in love with a sheep. That's one of the best things ever, that one. Such a good movie. What's it called? Everything You Ever Want to Know About Sex But Was Afraid to Ask. 1972. Badly Played Games with Saber Wolf 68, who is Wolfie Warploy, who was the bass player in Demolition in Progress, the band I was talking about. I had a Tom Baker Doctor Who poster when I was a kid. It was one of those ones where the eyes follow you around the room. Ended up taking it down because it freaked me out a bit. Well, I think we all had them, didn't we? I don't know if you remember that, but in my room, I used to come in my grand's, you know, me stuff in my grand's bedroom when I had the Postman Pat wallpaper in there. Remember when I was 17 when I got my granddad to paper the wallpaper with Postman Pat, and I had the poster of the Dickies up, the fan mail Dickies where they were all cut up and they looked grotesque, and I had to take that one down because it used to freak us out. But Tom Baker's got them eyes, hasn't he? Danny Duke says, I love Doctor Who from the old one to the new one. I'm the same, I do, but this last two series or whatever have just left me cold. I just don't find anything good about them. I think the more they just don't seem to have that what I'm going to say, emotional content in it. And I think there's loads of things they could have done with it. But don't forget, I haven't watched 2 series, so they might have done it. But there's lots of stuff that they could have had. With the fact is, they mentioned it a little bit, but they didn't go too much into it in this new one, where he met people from his past, her past, and they said, "The doctor, you're a woman." So they could have done more with that, but they don't think they ever seem to do that, unless I'm missing that one. But yeah, but a missed thing. I think they could have done a lot more with the character, and the writing was terrible. That's the main thing about it. But nothing against the woman doctor. It was the writing. It was awful. For me, in my opinion. So Paul Mahon says it's the same movie. I'm going to go back to what Paul said before. Yes, Incident in Ghostland. Yes, so that's actually, to be honest, I've seen, I think it was on the TV, and I watched about 10 minutes of it. That's not saying I didn't like it, but I didn't go back to it. I don't know why I didn't do that, actually. Steve Moore says, hello, how are you today? I'm doing all right, Steve. I'm on the horse mental if this, and that's nothing to say I've got anything bad going on. I've just got a bit of a, it's kept me mouth, me throat from getting a bit hoarse. Steve Moore says, could you tell me the meaning of the channel name? Actually, funny enough, I'd said that before, but obviously you weren't here for that. So the short story is, my band that I'm in, which is just me, is called Mondo Chelloveck. And I started that in 2004. It's still going now. It'll be going forever, because everything I do in my studio in there will be under Mondo Chelloveck. And I know that with, he's got a, I'm going back to his name here, is Badly Played Games with Saber Wolf 68, who is Wolfie Warploy from the other band. He has sung on practically every time you hear the singing on a Mondo Chelloveck song, it'll be Steve, Saber Wolf 68. So anyway, when I started that band name up, and I had to get a band name. So what I did was I took Mondo, which is for me the sort of real life killing movies, the most extreme movies you can get. I took that and I put it together with Chelloveck, which is a young man, which is what you call a young man in the book of Clockwork Orange. A Chelloveck, that's a young boy, or a what's I just know. And the Vec, I think a Vec is a person. Vec is a man. Chelloveck is a young man. So this or a Vonnie Vec is somebody who's like a nasty man. So so Chelloveck means, if you unpack it, it means lifestyle of a young man. But I thought I'd just put that in there because I wanted to make something different rather than just John's movies. I think we'd have got lost in the mix. I don't know if that makes us not lost in the mix, but it's one of those movies. I wouldn't change it, but why would I? I quite enjoy it, actually. It's nice that when you've made a thing up about your band name, and people do talk about and do mention the word Mondo Chelloveck, it means people are talking about your band name. Probably don't even know that. But it's quite a nice little buzz I get every time that somebody mentions it. So that's a little thing. It hasn't faded into obscurity. So I hope that answered the question, Steve. Although I went, if you watch the start of this, you'll know that I went into a bit more detail of it a little bit before. But thanks for that, Steve. There is a if you look on my channel, there is a dedicated video of that somewhere way back when, so you can check that one out as well if you want a bit more of an insight, or maybe a thought, wow, that was rubbish. Tom Pearson says, received my Rambo limited edition yesterday. Haven't opened it, waiting for someone to review it. I believe Keith is getting it, so waiting for his review. Is that the one with because I know there's like 3 levels of it. Is that the highest one? The I think about £100 one? Because I do like that movie, actually. Although I don't know if I'm gonna go. I've got it given to us, believe it or not, on Blu-ray. So I'm going to watch them first, but I think I might upgrade to 4K, but I'm not too sure. Not too sure. But yeah, so what I do is, if I ever want to know the picture quality of something, or the way it's something that I do think that when Keith reviews something, he usually tells me the facts that I want to see. So if Keith says good stuff about it, I'll think, right, I'll put my list again. If he says bad stuff, I don't go near it. So it's great to have Keith there and other reviewers to talk about these things, because I trust people's opinions when they tell us, do this, and it might save you some money in the end when you think, oh, Rambo's got to be the best thing ever. And if it was awful, you know to stay away from it before you've went for it. I know you've bought it. I know it is actually a good quality, but yeah, Keith's unboxings are usually the best ones to look for these big high end quality items. His last video, I just watched it this morning, about his latest horror busts, and that was amazing. I love looking at them. I can look at them things all the time, actually. Jigster says, Steve Moore, scroll back towards the beginning. The very question was answered earlier in the live stream. Yes. So if you want to know a bit more about it, there's a video there, or you can watch the start of it. But it's the one that I get asked every now and again, because it is a strange name. But I like the fact that it's a strange name. But I like it's one of those ones where there was another one that I thought could have been the previous band name, was called Virtual Cousin, which was all right. It was quite good. Virtual Cousin Movies. Another one was Stush Granada Movies. Doesn't seem to work, does it? So Bristolian Dave says, I picked up a couple of shameless titles from HMV the other week. The Church and The Mountain of the Cannibal God. The Church is, what's he called again? Michelle Suave. And I have got it. And I watched it yonks ago, but I haven't rewatched it. I know it's meant to be, there's the Church and the Sect. I think they're kind of the same. I know they kind of sometimes get called Demons 3, which they're not. They're not in the Demons thing. But I think it's because Michelle Suave is in Demons. And because he's directed it, and I don't think he's in the Sect. Sorry, it is, yeah, the Church. I think the Church is meant to be the best of the two, I think. But Mountain of the Cannibal God is unfortunate. It's cut, but the only things I cut out of it are animal cruelty, and I've got the uncut one I got on DVD. It's quite brutal, actually. The animal stuff in it is really next level. And there's a couple of things that I think that were cut out as well towards the end, which I can't really go into one here, but wow. So it's not a bad film, actually, to see Stacy Keach and what's she called? I'm sure she's a Bond woman in this movie. I couldn't believe it. And the things that Ursula Andress, and when she does some things you think, I can't believe it. The big stars doing that. I think she does her own stunts as well, falling down rivers and stuff. Mad. But yes, Shameless do some good stuff. I think they just don't do it regularly enough. They need to do more regular stuff, because the latest ones they've done are actually the best things they've ever done, which is the Psychic and Stage Fright. They need to do more like that. Chickster777 says, at Thomas Pearson, which Rambo movie is that, and what is the new different about the limited edition? I think it's probably the first one, actually. First Blood. Michael Hewitt. All right, Michael. The First Blood limited edition is brilliant. The artwork is with the exception. The artwork is with the exception of the original artwork is amazing. Good job by Zabi for once, and they sent it in the bulletproof packaging. Well, you don't often hear that very much, Michael, I tell you that much, but it's good to hear that, because to be honest, especially with steelbooks, I don't like them for that reason. The fact you get them all smashed to bits, usually. You just wonder where people's brains are at if they just say, oh, I'm putting this really high-end quality item in a jiffy bag, we'll just hide it in the post. It's just quite disrespectful, I think, especially the fact you paid usually a lot more money for it. But I'm glad to hear that you've got that. And I've seen the steelbook art. I think it's really good, actually. It's not bad at all. Niels Johansson says, John, you have to check out the trailer for Revenge of Billy the Kid. It looks insane. Well, actually, from what I've heard, it does look insane. Yes, I think I will do that. Wow. That's one thing you can say on that. Tom says Cheekster is the one. It's the one with the dog tags and the numerous badges, the expensive one. So yeah, so I haven't seen anybody unboxing that one. I'll be interested to see what that looks like. It sounds good. I know there's, like I say, the 3 different levels of what you can get. It's kind of the cheap one. No, I'm seeing cheap one. That's a steelbook. You've got a middle one, and then you've got the really expensive one, which is that one. Yeah, I'll be interested to see what it looks like. I hope it's worth the money, because sometimes when you get these things and you think, wow, I paid that much for that, and you can tell it's been cut corners. But I've got to think that it does, from what I've heard, it does sound like it's going to be good. Bumpers Movie says, are the UK releases of Rambo uncut these days? I never even realised there was a cut version until I was looking into the German 4K box set of the first 3 that was advertised as uncut. Yeah, I don't know about that, but I do know that Rambo seems to have a lot of problems with the censors, strangely enough, over the years. And I do hear that, I think I got that Rambo 5, I think it's Last Blood, and someone said the UK one was cut by a certain scenes, not like violence, but it's a bit cut out of it. I think Rambo 4 was maybe a bit censored when it first came out. I don't think it's censored now. I think it's uncut, but I think it had problems. I think it just had violent, and but what else is Rambo going to be? You know, apart from killing. You know, it's funny when you get people, oh, I didn't think Rambo would kill anybody. Wow. Sense, isn't it? So Pete from Playtendo Guy. Morning, John and everybody. Morning, Pete. Hope you're all right, mate. Niels Johansson. Morning, Pete. Playtendo Guy. Hey, Niels. Hope you're well, mate. Dean Humphreys. Has anyone seen the film Sniper, The White Raven? Heard the reviews of the film? That I heard the reviews for the film. It's a great film. I haven't actually. Is that a new film? No, never heard that one at all. I wonder if anybody else in the comments has heard of that one. Fred Krueger. Hello, Fred. The Blind Dead movies are way better than the Evil Dead series. Well, I used to have the Blind Dead movies, and the only thing I thought about them was I did like them. I did think they were very atmospheric, and I do think they were a good set. The only thing was that I found with it, because the one I had, it was like a Spanish one, and it was Spanish language, and it was subtitled. I don't know if they're all like that or they're dubbed, but because they were speaking that fast in the movie, that the subtitles were like that, and it was really hard to sort of get through the movies. I don't know if you have the same feeling yourself. I do think they look really good, but I had to sort of switch it off, and I never really got back to them. I haven't got them anymore, but I do. It's one of the ones where if there's a good Blu-ray comes out of it, I will buy it, or like a UK version of that. To be honest, I don't think that, for me personally, I think I would prefer the Evil Dead series. But I know there's a lot of love for the Blind Dead, and the people who like them really like them. Niels Johansson, Peter, I'm great and hope you are fine too. Nintendo Guy says, managed to get Le Mans 66 and New Mutants on 4K for £5 the pair, thanks to an Amazon glitch. I love it when these things happen, you know. And I think Amazon must be really sort of like tearing the hair out when they say, I can't believe it somewhere. We've got to give that to somebody for £5. But that's amazing to get that. I know New Mutants is meant to be a little bit wow. But hey, you can't grumble for, I mean, for that price, you know, it's amazing. But Bumper says, nice one, Pete. Yeah, brilliant. So Nintendo Guy says, thoughts on Doctor Who last Sunday, also excited for David Tennant back, ? I talked a bit briefly about this before, and if I'm honest, I haven't watched, I mean, we were talking about this a while ago. I'd watched, I think, most of the first series of when Jodie Whittaker come in, and I didn't really, I thought it was very average, writing-wise, and I think a lot of people say that the writing's not that good. And I haven't watched any more. I didn't watch, there was a couple of times we've talked, maybe after a stream we've talked about, and I said, I just haven't got any time for that. And a lot of people, big Doctor Who fans, felt the same way. So I watched it, And I thought it was the best I've seen of that particular writer, Chibnall, but it still lacked a little bit of something for me. You know, when it had these big sort of like callbacks and reveals, when usually in the other series, it used to be kind of emotional. You used to think, wow, and you just get that sort of like feeling in your stomach that you think, oh, what am I seeing here? And I had a lot of callbacks in it, and I thought, I don't know, I'm just not getting that feeling. But of course, with David Tennant, I mean, everybody is not spoiling now. David Tennant knows it's back. I mean, everybody knew that was before you even watched it. I think it was really good how they did it, and I'm interested to see how. I hope all I want them to do is I don't care who the new Doctor is going to be eventually. I just want them to get back to having that feeling where Doctor Who is more enjoyable again, because it's just been not enjoyable for that length of time for me, in my opinion. So I do think that I am excited for David Tennant back. I think he's always a welcome return. I think he's the best modern day Doctor Who by far. But again, I love having. The thing is though, well, yes, it was because she was going to turn into him, but I would have loved them two to have been on screen together. I know they couldn't have probably done that, but that would have been amazing if it could. If you could introduce them a little bit further earlier on, to say maybe had him sort of like whatever he was doing. I don't know, but I would like to see them face to face, but I know that couldn't happen because of their whole. I thought some of it was a little bit strange, and I do think that this person who is this other Doctor who keeps turning up, that woman, I just don't get that. And I think is that kid that we're looking at, is that timeless child? Because when that turned up, the timeless child kid, I went, oh, I don't believe this, because I detest the timeless child story. It's the most pathetic thing I've ever heard in my life, to change what everybody knows about Doctor Who to this other story, to mean he's been regenerated about 1 billion times. I just don't know. I just don't get it. And I want to think that that's because I've sort of put that in the bin. I want to think that this now is going to continue as if, from a writing point of view, it's kind of, you know, a new sort of like page, and they will get back to what made Doctor Who great from 2005. Yeah. Did you enjoy it, Pete? So Danny Duke says, what do you think of the new Doctor Who being a black man and the logo looking old school? Well, the logo looking old school is great for me. I've got no problem with Doctor Who being a black man. I've got no problem with Doctor Who being any person. The only thing I would like to see is, and I'm going to go old school in this one, the Doctor Who always used to get younger. And when he used to come out, he was just a little bit younger. And then he went and he used all his regenerations up, and then he got this sort of like new 12. And then that was the sort of old law. And then he came back as an old man to hopefully get younger and younger. But then they changed the thing to say, no, you can be any age, any gender, anything. And I thought, well, no, because I like to see this person getting younger. But anyway, that's just my take on it. But no problems with that. I just don't want to. It's just sometimes to go from ancient or old. No, Jodie Whittaker's not that old, to someone who's like dead young, and then back again. I just think it's a bit. That's not spoilers for us. It's just that I prefer the old sort of canon of Doctor Who, in that opinion. Good question, though. Bumpers Movies says, a Welshman reviews unboxed the luxury Rambo set. It's fantastic. Well, it sounds like it's brilliant for what I've heard. I think that's, for me, especially when you're going to pay that money, you want something a little bit special, and that sounds like it's special as well. Tom says, got new Terrifier. Have to say it's not as good as the reviews. Is that Terrifier 2? I haven't even seen Terrifier 1. There's a lot of movies out there that just don't seem to sort of make it over here at all, which is a bit nuts, isn't it, really, when you would think, well, you know, I'll see the Terrifier when it comes out, and then it just doesn't come out. So, you know, I do import from the States. I'm not saying I don't, but I would like to at least have the chance to get a UK version of it. And yeah, so, but I reckon the Terrifier 2 is meant to be ultra gory, they say. So Niels Johansson says the German version was out in the theaters and on video and DVD. The Blu-ray was the first time it got an uncut version. Now, I don't know what that would be too. Is that too terrifying? Or is it to do with Billy the Kid? That's a bit. I'll have to go and check that trailer out now. Wow. Chickster777 says at Bumpers Movies, just seen the thumbnail for the First Blood Zavi box set. Looks awesome. Thanks for the heads up. We'll watch the review after the live stream. So I'll have a look at that. I do like looking at these reviews. I wouldn't buy it actually. I would never get that one myself personally, but I'm always a fan of seeing what people pick up. I'm always a fan to see every version of it. Say if somebody says I've got the Steelbook or I've got that version, I will check out all the versions of these movies. And I like the fact that people do get these different ones and maybe explain why they get them as opposed to other ones. I like that. I like somebody to say that I got this because, you know, I think that's a good way of having a video, something on your video. Tom Pearson says, have seen the Rambo cut version once on TV. One cut bit was when breaking out the sheriff's station, he breaks an officer's nose. You see, there's a lot of violence that used to get really frowned upon on TV. Headbutting was a thing. I remember, and I don't know if Steve Wolfie Warplay is still here, but when Boys from the Black stuff came out in 1980, 81, and Yosha Hughes used to go around headbutting everybody. When you see he gives a job and they just stick the head on him. There was a sort of craze going around in school at the time, as it always does, that people were going around headbutting, and they had this big assembly to say, you've got to cut this out, this headbutting business, because people were getting, you know, noses broken and all that type of thing, and eye sockets smashed. It wasn't, don't get us wrong, it wasn't as if like everybody was just going around sticking the head on every single other person. It wasn't that. But on fights were turned into like part of the fight was going to be a headbutt. So yeah, so headbutting was a big problem. Even I think it was Batman was cut quite a few times. I'm going to say the third Batman, because there was a lot of headbutting, fighting in that. Yeah, and so things like that, you just think, wow. But I think that's kind of, you do see, I'm sure I saw headbutting in Thor, and I thought that would have been knocked out back in the day. Craig Steelyard, movies and games. All right, Craig. Hello, John. Do you think the 88 film's release of Maniac will have the same transfer as the Blue Underground release? Well, if I'm honest, I do think it will, because of the fact that they did a 4K. Now, I can't imagine, although they might have done, 88 might have got their own transfer done, because I'm pretty sure they would have done this because they've done a 4K transfer. So if they've done it, they will put a 4K out, and for a fact they will. Now, the 4K of Maniac from Blue Underground is sensational. I mean, don't get us wrong, it's a 16mm, and it's got its limitations, big limitations. But the fact that they've done the best version ever could of that is enough. And it's got Dolby Atmos as well in it. So this new one, if they've borrowed that, if they went to them and says, can we license that off you? They might have done. Although I don't know if Blue Underground licensed stuff out, because I know Blue Underground they probably own that movie, because don't forget it was directed by what's his name again? The director of it owns Blue Underground. So I think that he's actually got a few of his movies are his. So I can't imagine him giving the rights to anybody, you know, or unless they license it. I think it seems a strange one for them to do, because it's one of those ones where you think, has anybody, you know, like well, the fact it's come out uncut in the UK for the first time ever, because don't forget, it's not Walk in the Park. It's a pretty brutal film. It's got some really, it's got a great shotgun effect in it, and Tom Savini does the effects in it, and the shotgun effect in that one, which you'll know when you see Tom Savini, because he's actually in the movie, you'll know where it's coming. But it was a brilliant effect. I mean, you know, it's Tom Savini, isn't it? So it's funny that Bill Lustig, yes, thanks Craig, Bumpers Movies, Bill Lustig, he did the he's the sort of like head bomber when it comes to Blue Underground. I think he can literally have say on all these things. That's why he does all these movies in the Blue Underground catalogue. Hasn't got many of them, but I know he keeps them close to his chest, I believe. And maybe, I don't know, maybe he's done that. It'd be interesting to find out. Don't know if I'll ever find out. But maybe it might have some little logo somewhere on Blue Underground, maybe at the start on the actual picture or on the box. Because I know that 88 do license stuff off 7 as well, because 7 do all the work, and 88 take the sort of the prints off them, I believe. So yeah, so I do think, Craig, it would have the same transfer as the Blue Underground release. So does that mean you've actually got the Blue Underground release? Because I know that they've got a Blu-ray as well of it. Way back in the day they had it out. I used to have it, which is all right, but the 4K is much better. Bumpers Movies says, no problem, Jigster. Niels Johansson says, First Blood. Tom Pearson says, cheers, Bumper, we'll check out Rambo review. So that must be, is that the movie that's kind of come out the most recently? Because I know that the amount of movies that come out these days is quite ridiculous, actually, because you think, it used to be where you used to say, right, the next 3 months I've got 5 movies coming out, all going to be essential purchases. I'll get them 5 movies and maybe get some other things in CX or something, or maybe cheap in HMV. These days, every month there's about 20 of these things coming out, and you've got that much money to find to put them out. You've got to obviously leave some on the shelves, but and they're always big bucks as well these days. But it's quite amazing that these things come out. It's good that they come out. Don't get us wrong. I think that if they didn't come out, the whole collecting would be a little bit boring, a little bit kind of just everything looks the same. I like these ones that are a bit different. I know they've done this for years. It seems to be like a lot these days. So Tom says, cheers, Bumper, we'll check out Rambo review. And Tom also says, great TV show, Boys from the Black Stuff, gives a job. Yeah, Yosha Hughes. He was a sort of cult hero, actually, in school, because we were watching it at school. So did you see Yosha Hughes last night? And it was this whole spiel, wasn't it? Because he'd actually, I think he put all his money into this building firm, and he'd been ripped off. This company had ripped him off, and he lost his mind. So he used to headbutt everybody, and he used to go around asking people for a job. And I think that was a little bit of a kind of realistic thing that used to happen back in them days. You couldn't get a job to save your life in certain fields. So he just freaked out, but he did used to just headbutt people. I'm sure he headbutted a woman as well, which, can you imagine that getting through these days? And I know it's not, I'm not condoning anything like that. It's just the fact that just that time, everything was sort of told the way it was. There was no punches pulled. And, movies like Scum as well, it was one of them things that it was just, that's what happened, and this is what you're going to see. So nothing was sugar-coated, I don't think, which is good in a way, because you've got a realistic view. I tell you what, not that I ever thought about going into Borstal, but after watching Scum, you thought, it's one of those deterrent movies where you watched it and you thought, there's no way on earth I would be a bad lad at school and get chucked into one of them places. So in a way, did it help? Did it help kids? It helped me. Well, not that I was planning to go to Borstal, but yeah, you know what I mean. Pete says the BBC has partnered up with Disney Plus to release Doctor Who in it. We're also getting a Disney Plus exclusive show about Rose Tyler after the ending of Series 2. Well, so are you saying there, Pete, that that Doctor Who won't be a part of the BBC here? I would like to think that's not the case, because the BBC, I'd like to think that I have got Disney Plus, but I want to think that Doctor Who wouldn't be taken away by anybody. I hope that you maybe get a spin-off show, fair enough, but I hope they wouldn't take that away, and then they might Disney-fy it a bit, which I think if they can get back the way it was, I would hope that would be a thing. Interesting. Niels Johansson says, Bill Lustig is the co-owner of Blue Underground. That's why we have a 4K release of Uncle Sam. Yes, because it was his last film he made, wasn't it? It's all right. That film wasn't too bad. I watched it and I thought, no, that's all right. better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it'd be in 1996. It was going to be very average, but it was had enough go in it to keep us occupied. So nice version. Bumpers Movies. What did you think of Uncle Sam? I enjoyed it. Didn't realize it was made in the 80s and the 90s. Bill Lustig directed that one too. Bit of an underrated director. Well, he is. He's done some great movies. He's done Vigilante, Maniac, Maniac Cop, 1 and 2. Well, 1, 2, and 3. I think he did. Yeah, he did the 3 of them. And yeah, Uncle Sam. I thought that with it being 1996, his last movie, and he's obviously he doesn't like making movies anymore because it's too hard to do. And he's made it widely known that he's that it's that hard to do movies. He used to just rock up and do a movie. He can't do that these days, and he's just turned his back on it. And he's more into doing his sort of like redoing his sort of catalog, for want of a better word. He does a great thing with it as well. You can tell he's a person who puts some good effort into his stuff. He's like a fan as well as director. But I do think he's an underrated director. And I think all his movies that I watch, I think they're highly watchable. And I think he's made a great. It's just a shame he doesn't do them anymore. And Uncle Sam is the only thing I would say about that is the character in it, the Uncle Sam character. He could be in it a bit more. I think he's underused, and I think you could see a bit more, especially the special effects on him are really good. You don't see that much of it. But in general, I think it's a decent movie. The 4K looks spectacular as well. Niels Johansson says, in the young ones, there was a lot of headbutting. Yes, there was, wasn't there? That was was a great show. And the thing is, though, well, it's comedy, isn't it? You know, these things are these things where they hit people as Three Stooges when they're poking people's eyes out and hitting them over the head with something, or putting the head in the vice, or ironing the tongues with the iron, or nailing the feet to the floor. It's just comedic, and I think there's something to be said for the fact that, you know, that are people not allowed to see this type of thing anymore because it's deemed like to be something that would copy instantly. Now, the fact is that these things are sort of forgotten about. Would it not be better just to have them all out there and just have like a bit of it sounds a bit bad when I say it, but you know, like a bit fun with the fact of this like hyper violence, but in a comedic way. I don't know. Jason Brett. Hello, Jason, you all right? Hey, John. Just on a break at work. Hope you're well, mate. Yep, I'm doing all right. I was just talking to your Soph before, talking about getting a meetup going on. So, and we're going to go and when you do come up, we're going to go and see some like sites as well. Me and so far, and she says that I don't know if you're into that, but hopefully you'll tag along as well, and you can see a few things. Don't know what I'm going to show you, like, but there's loads to show you in Newcastle. That's for sure. I'll take the places that you don't normally see. Yeah, I'm doing all right, and so you're on a break at work. I'm off work this week, thank God. So that's good. It's good to just have a bit space. Craig Steelyard, movies and games. Lots of Steven Seagal and Bruce Lee movies were cut. Yeah, they were back in the day. We were quite lucky these days. We are quite lucky these days. Nearly every movie that is released is now uncut. Yeah, the Steven Seagal movies. I remember John Hall used to, because we used to watch them actually. Me and Deborah used to watch his very early movies when the first came out, like Nico and, you know, Out for Justice, I think it was called, and all them type of things. So this this thing that they did with this whole cutting business, I didn't really know it was a thing. And then John Hall was saying to us, he said, "Oh, all these movies are cut, you know." I says, "Really? I thought they're just action movies." He says, "Oh no, they're really cut." So we used to get them, and John Hall used to get them from the States. We used to watch the full and cut ones, and there was a quite little bit of violence in it. But the thing is, these days you can't. There's a thing actually with this BBFC at the time. Was literally they must have had a checklist of all these things that they didn't like, and you know, sometimes it was important to the movie, and it was cut because it was, you know, and every now and again though, something would get through that was fully uncut, and you thought, I can't believe that they've let this movie through fully uncut, and they've cut, you know, a Steven Seagal movie like Man Bites Dog. that was amazing when it come out, because you just thought, have you seen what's in this movie? I mean, it's a black and white movie, but it's about this fella, this postman. Is he a postman? No, he's not a postman. He's just a fellow who goes around with a camera crew for whatever reason and just kills people. And the camera crew are just there with him while he's killing them. It's such a good comedy. If it sounds, it faded into obscurity. I'm sure the director killed himself as well after the movie for whatever reason. And so it's one of a kind. But at the same time, in 1993, I think it came out, or 1992. And don't forget that the cover of it got it in serious trouble, because the fella's pointing a gun at the pram and he's shooting a bullet in the pram. There's a dummy flying out with blood all over it, which is pretty bad. But it's this comedic sort of like dark humor that I don't know how it got through and cut. But yeah, Steven Seagal was and Bruce Lee was all the nunchuckers were taken out. Nunchuckers was remember I still got them actually. The original Spider-Man movies from the 1970s, I think from 1977 to 1980, they had, I think it was Dragon's Challenge, they had this gang who had nunchuckers. That was all cut out of it. And it was I know it was a kid's film, it was a U, that certificate. But it was obviously in the film when I went to see it at the cinema. And this was something you just thought, wow, you just can't get nothing these days with nunchuckers, because people were copying them, they said. But anyway, so yeah, but there was a lot cut out, and be surprised that you get something, you say, oh, this is brilliant, to say, oh, it's cut. And you think, oh, I don't believe it. You used to hear that all the time. Danny Jukes says, Doctor Who is still on BBC in the UK, but the rest of the world is on Disney Plus. Oh, wow. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because if you haven't got Disney Plus and you're a fan in the US, maybe, of Doctor Who, and you haven't got access to it, is that going to really be, I can imagine that would, and I'd say if it was the other way around and they just says, oh, you've got to go into a stream service to watch a movie that's been on TV for 60 years, it might be a bit of a bad one for you. Wow. Yeah, I don't like the sound of that. I think things like it's a British, like it's entrenched in BBC. I mean, you pay this license fee for I don't know what these days, because I never watch TV. But yeah, so that's not a good thing here, I don't think. So Teabags, hello John, hello Teabags. I picked up the 2 Doctor Who films on 4K. They still had the coins in after months, so I don't think they sold out. They sold too well, sadly. Yeah, I think that the original, they said they've got original run that's going to have the coins in them, then they're going to take the coins out. I don't think they did. And I think the reason behind that is because it's not like everybody's cup of tea. A lot of Doctor Who fans don't recognize them 2 movies, so they might have not went into it. People like myself who don't mind the fact that it's not an actual Doctor Who, it's not a canon Doctor Who. I don't mind that. I've got a lot of nostalgia for it. But then again, if you haven't got that nostalgia of watching them in the 70s, I watched them in the 70s on TV, there's maybe no reason for you to pick it up. You might think, so what? So I can see it. I think they're spectacular. I love them. I think they've done a great job in it, but I think it's even though Doctor Who is huge, I think that's about the nichest part of Doctor Who you can never pick up, if that makes any sense. Sadly, but it's worked out good for you actually, because you've managed to get them the coins in, so that's good, isn't it? So that's really good actually, that you've got something that should be sold out by now, but it's not. I like that. Niels Johansson, the good thing about living in Denmark is that we get all the movies uncut. Yeah, we talked about this before. We used to just immediately go and just say for instance, somebody had you would say, oh, I want to see Zombie Flesh Eaters, and you would say, well, get one from Denmark, imported, and then you've got the uncut one, because you knew you were taking a bit of a gamble when you were going to places. They were releasing DVDs. I bet this is cut, or VHSs. I bet this one's got something snipped out of it. But if you just went straight to Denmark and you got your copy from there with the subs on, you would have an uncut version. So yes, Niels, it came in very handy for us. I imagine anybody who's got any of the video nasties would have some with the old. I've got them upstairs. I've got I think I've mentioned this to you before. I've got A Clockwork Orange from Finland, and I'm sure I've got Exorcist from Denmark. So they were 2 ones that you couldn't get over here at the time, and they were actually proper, legitimate tapes from there, and they were mint quality. So that was great. So Jason Brett says, unpopular opinion, I enjoyed Halloween Ends. Yes, I know, I saw you. See, the thing is, though, especially with Halloween Ends, I can't really watch any of the videos because I find out spoilers. I don't know anything about it. At least I know about it. But he also says, I can completely understand all its shortcomings, but I don't make any less. It doesn't make it any less entertaining to me. I know. I released the hounds. Yeah. The thing is, though, and I'm sure I'm right in thinking, Jason, that when Halloween Kills came out, you liked Halloween Kills. Not a lot of people like that, or vice versa, I think. So you see, the thing is, though, that I went into Halloween Kills thinking it was going to be awful, and for me, it wasn't. I really enjoyed it. I knew, as you're saying here, it does have its limitations. Halloween Kills. It's not the best movie out there. It's not the best movie in the franchise, but it's entertaining. And that's all I want to be at the end of the day. So, yes, I'm interested in Halloween Ends. I am going to watch it. Don't get us wrong. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm not watching that. I haven't checked out any reviews on anybody's reviews. Don't know anything about it. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm glad, well, put it this way, I'm glad somebody's liking it, because I've heard, or I've seen, should I say, seen lots of bad stuff, or bad thumbnails where people are sort of like holding their head in their hands, and you're getting the vibe from that when you think, oh, wow, what is this about? A bit like Halloween Kills. There was a lot of Halloween Kills, the same thing. But I will watch it, and I will give it I'm not, to be honest, these days, and for a while, I'm not hypercritical with movies anymore. I just watch them and just enjoy them. If I enjoy them, I do. If I don't, I don't. There's a few on the ones I watched this month I haven't enjoyed that much. So that's going to be interesting to talk about that. I mean, if I don't enjoy it, I'm going to say it. I'm not going to say everything's brilliant, but I'm less critical with stuff, which means I kind of enjoy things for what they are and maybe never go back to them, or it doesn't offend us that much, if that makes sense. So Tom Pearson says, haven't seen John in a while. How's his YouTube channel coming? Will we see him soon? Yes, you will. The thing with John, he's got his work and all that, and I've got my work, and we'll try and make it for when the streams, the shifts work out. So that sometimes isn't the easiest thing to do. And but John's been messaging me recently, and I got new phones, so I need to get back to messaging him to say about when the next sort of time we can meet up. So it's definitely on the cards, and I think that if I'm what's it, I think it'll be definitely next month we'll be having another meetup, because it's long overdue. We should have one this month, but it's just been, like I say, with my work's not been good this month. It was terrible last month. It's been better this month. So that wiped September out of the way. October's been a bit better, but also I think November is going to be the time when we can sort of get together and have another. We've got a few things planned, actually. I do think that, actually, as I'm coming on live here, I do want John to come on with me on a live stream doing this one on the YouTube channel, and that way we can sort of get through the comments as well, and he can ask John whenever he wants. And he's a wealth of knowledge, as you know, and he always says that he's not, but he is. And I keep saying to him, John, you know everything about everything. And he says, well, I don't. And that's, well, everything I want to ask you, and you do know about. So it'd be great to get him on here, because it'd be great for you to chat to John Hall, and because he says, I don't know if I'll be maybe too nervous. And I'd says, well, I don't think you will. Once you get into it, you'll just another Halls. John, he's called John Hall, actually. John Halls. I wonder if he invented these. So for me, yes. So yes, Tom, John will be doing. He will be coming on again, and I hope he will be doing a live stream. That's one of the things I would like him to do. And his YouTube channel is going to be something that he hasn't got the capability of kind of doing a YouTube channel in his house. So what I was wanting him to do was, if he was to come here, he could actually do a couple of videos here. He was thinking about what to do. I would just film it. You just do it in front of this camera. And then I'd edit it for him and put him on his channel. I think that's what we're going to try and go for. But I don't know when that's going to happen. But I'd like it to happen, because I think he's, as everybody knows, he's such a nice kid. I mean, I've known him for yonks. I'm saying kid. He's not a kid anymore, but he's younger than me, so he's a kid to me. That makes me sound a bit younger, doesn't it, when I say that? And I think so that Tom, the short answer is yes, definitely next month. It's just been a case of just shifts haven't worked out, and unfortunately, because he's a big miss in the channel, and he's a big miss just to me. Talking to him in general, we always have a catch up, you know, if we're not even on the channel before that. So yeah, so next month definitely. Tom also says, I liked Halloween Ends better the second time around. All right. So yeah, so I think what I would probably do is when I watched it, I'll probably go back and watch the trilogy again, because I was going to watch Halloween Kills the other day, and I thought, well, no, I'll not do that, because actually I was going to go to the cinema with my son. He was going to say, well, do you want to go and see Halloween Ends? And I says, are you even interested in it? He said, well, I just want to go to the pictures. I said, you know about the other two? And he says, well, I kind of know how to go. So we were going to do that, and then he couldn't go for his shifts, couldn't work out. So then it's been and gone. He's never mentioned it again. But I think I'm going to ask him when I see him next, does he want to go and see Evil Dead Rises? Because he's a massive fan of Evil Dead, and I would imagine he'd want to go and see that. I don't think the Debs will, though the Debs loves the Evil Dead, I don't think for 1 minute she'll go in the cinema to watch the Evil Dead, because I should have to take a pillow in with her, because she's always got, you must have seen the pictures on Instagram of when she's sitting there with a pillow over her face, as soon as anything comes on the TV, and then we're not talking even, you know, something's got like big creepy music and it's just like a kids movie. She go, oh no, and I'll say, you're joking, aren't you? It's a PG. She goes, I know, but have you heard the music? I was going, dear me. So she's, we watched Dharma the other day, a series, and we loved it. And I thought the acting in it was absolutely first rate. Everybody in that show was brilliant. The characters, the way that they portrayed them was amazing. The way it was done was one of the best. I'm not a bloke who's into drama that much. And I said to Deborah, would you want to watch Dharma? And she says, well, go on then, because she likes the true crime. And when I watched it, I thought, this is literally one of the best things I've seen in my life. It was done in the best way ever. The fella, it's Evan Jones, I think he's called. He's a great actor, and he's in American Horror Story, and I think he's absolutely brilliant. And I think that for me, when we were watching that, every time she's got the pillar up, and go, Deborah, man, for God's sake, I says, it's just that she's going, oh, but look what's happening. He's going up. I says, oh, he's stalking someone or anything like that. But well, actually, when he started on with the cutting animals up, I had to turn it. Well, I had to fast forward that bit, because I couldn't take that. It was a bit too not graphic, but I didn't want to see that at all. Although that's part of it. Neil Jansen says, are you going to pick up the 4K of Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 from Vinegar Syndrome? Well, funny enough, I'm a bit on the fence with that, and I'll tell you why. I'm a big fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. I think it's a brilliant movie. I know people sometimes think it's a bit odd compared to the first one, but I like it for what it is. I've always liked it. And the Arrow one is really good. Now, I'm thinking the Arrow one, will Arrow do a 4K in it? They might do it. I doubt it though. But if they do a 4K, will they just repackage it the way it was? The Vinegar Syndrome one will obviously be expensive. And it might be one of those ones where I might wait on it, because I do think it'll come out sometime again. And the Arrow one is amazing. The package on it is absolutely brilliant. So I do think that I'm happy with the Arrow one. And if I can see the Vinegar Syndrome one, I just know it's going to be expensive. It's one of those ones where you think, I don't mind paying the money for it, but it's going to have to get imported. And how much is it going to cost for you to import things? If it was available in the UK and you just picked it off the shelf, instant purchase day one. So that's why I'm going to kind of hold out a little bit on it. For the fact is, I'm going to have to get some reviews of it as well, because if the quality, because Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 has always looked a bit grainy to me, even Arrow one. It's never looked pristine. Maybe it's a movie that just cannot look pristine. And so that makes me think, is it ever going to be a good 4K? So it might be a little bit of not a waste of money by any means, but it's good. It might be one that I might spend the money elsewhere at this point. Good question though, because it's as soon as it come out, you always think I've got to get it, and you think, well, hang on a minute, let's just have a bit of a reset about this. Is it going to be, you do sort of weigh the pros and cons of it, and at the moment, it's more in the cons draw than the pros. But I'm really interested to see what it's all about. So I'll be doing what everyone does. I'll be going and checking out the reviews. Probably, I would imagine Richard Diaz. Is anyone watching Richard Diaz's channel? I think he's does some great reviews on movies from the States, and I would imagine he would probably come up and he would look at that, and I would check this thing out and I'd weigh myself from there. I know it's a long answer to the question, but I'm going to 50-50 at the moment. Are you going to pick it up, Niels? Cy Robson says, hey, John, have you seen that this Halloween Odeon? Have you seen that this Halloween Odeon are screening? Oh, have you seen that this Halloween Odeon are screening The Thing for the 40th anniversary? Yes, I have. And I thought about asking my son if he wants to go and see the Thing in the cinema, because I saw it on release and I thought it was amazing. The only thing I'll say about this is that The Thing, great. And I saw it in the place down the road, Whitty Bay Playhouse, which isn't a cinema anymore, but I will do a video on it one day. It's still there, and it still has shows there. The Thing, I do think that The Thing would look amazing, but it's one of those ones where you watch it, and you if you go there and you want to watch it for the spectacle of The Thing at the cinema, and you want the audience to be going a bit crazy with it. Now, when I went to see Jaws, which was great, and we loved it, the 3D Jaws, there was no real audience participation. It was really strange, the fact that nobody was kind of screaming. I was hoping to get, there was a little kid who was a little bit scared, be set along the way from us, and I was hoping he would sort of scream a little bit. We didn't really do that. So it was a bit flat for audience participation. But the thing is with The Thing, I hope that would happen. And because don't forget, I think that when you go and see movies like The Thing at the cinema, your 4K is going to look better than the cinema, unless it's like on IMAX, which it wouldn't be. So I love that these things are coming out, and I am tempted. Don't get us wrong. And Debs does like The Thing, although she'll be sitting there with a pillow in front of her. It's an interesting one. It's funny because all these ones I always think about it, but it's I'll ask my son, see what he says, because he loves The Thing, and so does maybe all three will go. But I would like a little bit of audience participation, because when we saw it when we were kids, I know it's a different time, different universe. We were just going mental when we were in there, not in a disruptive way, but like cheering and going like whoa, like this. So that's what I like to get from these films, and I have that memory, and I hope it wouldn't be sitting in there thinking, well, is anybody into this movie? Anyway, that's maybe a bit of a long-winded reply, but you know what I'm saying. I hope you do. Neil Johansson says, I'm also going to wait for the reviews on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Yeah, I know. It's one of those ones where, don't get us wrong, it would probably look amazing, the package. But when you get it and you think, hang on, this disc doesn't look far different from my Arrow Blu-ray, which is another spectacular edition, you kind of feel a bit duped when you think, well, if it was 40, 50 quid, I could have spent that on 2 or 3 things, or maybe even something that's like different, you know, for that price. So Forgotten World of Movies, Andy. All right, Andy. Hey, John, just tuning in on my break at work. Well, I hope you're having a good day at work and you're not working too hard. And I hope you're going to be finished. Hope you get a show. What we call it in Geordie land is you get a louse. It's called a sharp louse. It means an early finish. But the first time you hear somebody saying, what time's louse, or sharp louse today, and you go, you just haven't got a clue. There's a lot of these Geordie words that are there, and when you hear them for the first time, you haven't got a clue what sort of people are talking about. It's an odd dialect. That's if you've got someone who's really heavily into the Geordie way of speaking, the sort of words that they use is completely alien to most people. I would imagine that most dialects have that same feeling as well. Tom says, "Are you in Rock God still on for Friday?" Yes, yeah, of course. We're joined by Michael Witchy, who is Bogey Cat Productions, and he has got the most insane Evil Dead collection you will ever see in your life. And when we finished the last stream, when you were going to do a sort of intermittent stream before we got into the next one, the next section, and we says, "Oh, we'll do one where we're just answering, just a bit like this, just anything really. Could be about video nasties, could be about anything in general." And I'd said to Nigel after the stream, I said, "Do you think we should ask Michael Witchy to come on the stream with us?" And he said, so I had a word with Michael, and we've all agreed to do this as a sort of, we've done the section 1. Now we're going to move on to section 2. This is kind of like a little bit of a break in the middle. We'll probably do it after section 2 for section 3. But so yeah, you're going to have some, amazing stuff to look at on that stream. So yes, that's all going ahead. We're going to have the we're going to get what's it called? We've got the top 10 section 1 video nasties to talk about the first. We're not going to spend too much time on it. We're just going to say this is how Nigel's going to do it. I'm going to do it. This is what my top 10 are. Like, this is what number 10 is, number 9. But also this this thing for just weirdly enough, yeah. It's funny this, because what I'd said on this for not the 10 on this just very quickly, I don't really talk about people who put things in the comments, but what I did was with this one, because obviously you've got to be subscribed to the channel to comment on here, and it keeps everybody away who's the people who come on and just say rubbish. And I've just noticed something come up there, and I thought, wow, I noticed the channel name, and I thought, what's all that about? Because I put a thing on here, for the longest time you've got to be subscribed with for an hour before you can comment. So that's probably, I know it's been an hour 47. But anyway, not to give anybody anything about that, but I'm glad that Pete's got rid of that person. So I don't know if you can delete them, completely delete them. Yes, you can. So that's good. Anyway, moving on from that little blip. So yeah, so that was the only reason why I like coming on these streams, because you don't get people like that coming on. But anyway, that's enough of that. Because why would you talk about that? So where was I? So we've got Korashia Ishi on here. Sup? It's all right. Everything's good. How are you, Korashia? How are you doing around? Well, mate. Niels Johansson says, saw Suspiria in the 4K restoration at the cinema back in 2018. It looked and sounded awesome. The Atmos sound was amazing when the rain and the soundtrack, yeah. To be honest, I know I've just said about the fact if you're going to see something, you think, wow. But I have no knowledge of Suspiria in the cinema. That would be an instant one for me. I've seen the thing. I saw Jaws in the cinema. And I can think about, I've got my thoughts on them when I did see them. But I've got no knowledge of Suspiria. So I would think for me, more, I would like to see movies that I haven't seen in the cinema before, that great movies like Suspiria. Any Dario Argento one, or even Lucio Fulci, you've never seen none of them in the cinema. So those would be instant. Those would be the ones I would more want to do. So yeah. But I could imagine, I mean, the 4K looks brilliant, and I would imagine that it would have been a spectacle to see that, and it's huge, the frame, everything about it. It's just such a great movie to sort of look at. It's like eye candy. Korashia says, "Oh, go on, get the TC, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 on 4K. What do you care? I know you want it. The force is strong, is too strong to resist. Well, Kurashia, like I was saying, it was one of those ones when I saw it, I thought, yep. And I thought, hang on a minute, let's just let's just put the brakes on this one because I've got it. It looks great. It's a movie that I like. I don't watch very often, and I thought, I think I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre rather than Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I do like I like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. 4 is a bit wow, but yeah, I think I would. Well, I'll a bit err on the side of caution on that one, Cora, because mm, someone's someone's listening to some music next door. Let me hear that. Red Romantics says just catching up. Had to dip out the stream for a bit. I love some Like It Hot too, and got the 4K from Kino Loba, imported from America. It's stunning and highly recommended. Wow, I didn't know it was on the 4K. That's one I'm thinking. Thanks for the heads up on that because I'm a big fan of that movie, and I know Kino Loba, when they do a movie, they do it really good. So for me, that's excellent. That I might look into that one. Juha Tanskanen. Hello, John. Hello, Juha. You all right? John, have you ever seen a movie that you had to stop in the middle of, or if have you ever seen a movie that you had to stop in the middle of it, or a movie that you will never ever want to see again? Well, yes. Well, the Serbian film, I didn't get all the way through that. As soon as I knew which way it was going, I thought, no chance. I'm not watching this. I'll never watch it. I know enough about it not to watch it. So definitely a Serbian film. I think there's a few movies. There's nothing worse when you put a movie on, you just think, what on earth was that about? Like, not bad, just to think, well, what was the point of that? I very rarely do that, just for the simple fact is I do look at a lot of people talking about movies, and if everybody slates it, I don't go near it. So it's good actually to do that on YouTube, to say if a lot of people are talking about a certain movie and they're all saying bad things. I know I am going to watch Halloween Ends, but I do hear more bad than good. It's a good way to stay away from these movies. So, but I think back in the day, I used to watch a lot more of them, and then definitely definitely don't want to go back to it. Definitely, a Serbian film is right up there. I think it's an awful film, and it's yeah. And he also says, Juha also says, because you thought it was too much to watch for. Well, I think that not a lot gets us like that. I don't really get shocked that much by movies or disgusted by movies. I think sometimes if I had heard about a Serbian film before and what it actually had in it, I wouldn't even entertained it. But I watched it on the thought of it, think it was a gore fest, and it's not really. Anyway, so yeah, I think, to be honest, it's just that one, the one that's is the one that sticks out to me anyway. But good to see you, Juha. Pete says, picking up Ghostwatch on Blu-ray. I'm not actually. I did watch it when it was on. I thought it was quite hilarious and quite funny. And but I'll not be watching it because I think I watched it. I watched it not recently, but a few years ago on YouTube or something like that, and I thought it was not really very good, if you know what I mean. I knew it was a huge thing back in the day because everyone said it was real, but I remember thinking at the time, how can anyone have thought this? Because I thought it was a bit of a joke, because you thought, you can obviously tell this is not real. But anyway, not trying to take away from it, because I know it's got fans, a lot of fans of it, but personally, maybe it was just the time I saw it, I didn't really think that it wasn't for me in that one. Not for rewatchability, not a pickup. I would watch it again, but I wouldn't buy it. Pete also says, quite a bit coming out on Monday, like Top Gun, an HMV exclusive Austin Powers box set too. Yeah, I don't know if I'll get the HMV Austin Powers box set, but I love them movies, so I think I will be getting them. I've got them, but on DVD. I think I've got one of them on Blu-ray, but I think I will be going for I will get that Austin Powers somewhere along the line, but I don't know if I get an HMV exclusive. I don't want to pay big bucks for it because it's been out that long, and it's one of the movies where you can see for pennies on DVD. So I don't know, but it's good that it's getting a release because it needs a huge release. So Tom says, is Austin Powers 4K? And Pete says, just the Blu-rays, mate. Nice to get them a 4K. I think they look really good. I think they're really well done. They're so funny. Teabags, are you going to see Iron Maiden in 2023, John? Sadly, I'm not. They're playing in the ROI for the first time in years. Or Republic of Ireland, sorry. And I can't wait. I'm a fan of some Iron Maiden. And I'm a fan of watching Iron Maiden live. I watched a lot of them actually live on YouTube. I watch a lot of bands live on YouTube that I probably wouldn't go and see live. I know that the Debs wouldn't entertain Iron Maiden at all. She's not a fan in any way, in shape or form, which is fair enough because she's. Sometimes I drag her along to these concerts I go to, and sometimes I can't believe she's actually stood stand next to us when I'm watching the likes of Slayer, and she's sitting there, and I can see on her face that she's thinking, "What on earth is this?" But I think she did. She loved Anthrax. When we saw Anthrax, she thought they were brilliant, and they are brilliant. So sadly, probably not. Although I do rate them, I do think they're a good live band, excellent musicians. I just think that for the price of them, and I just think that Deborah wouldn't really want to entertain it. She doesn't know that much about them at all. We don't really play Iron Maiden in the car. Well, I don't really play Iron Maiden in the car, even though I do like some of the albums. So, but I'm sure you'll enjoy it though, because like I say, when I watch them on the thingy, they do play amazingly. It's not as if they've ever got to the point where you think, oh, these have had it made. Because some bands are like that. Still, we're all going to go and see Wasp though, I think, when they come back. Tom says, we'll give it a miss already. I have the Blu-rays. Yeah, I think that you only really paying for the packaging, you know, which is something, if you want to do that, that's great. But maybe if you've got the Blu-rays that you just think, I don't think if I had the Blu-rays or got the DVDs, I wouldn't really want to step up that much in the expensive fashion. Neil Johnson says, Pete, oh behave. Actually, weirdly enough, and I don't think I've got the picture of this, but me and Deborah went to a fancy dress party a long time ago. And I dressed, we got this stuff from the sort of joke shop, you know, proper costumes. And I dressed up like a 1970s pimp with big sort of like horrible suit on, big massive collars and all that, and medallions and a wig and a tash. And she dressed up like Austin Powers. And I tell you this, oh, it's not the teeth, but she just looked like Austin. It was weird. This Austin Powers thing, I couldn't take my eyes out. It was, but yeah, that was something else. I will have a photograph of it somewhere. Don't tell her I'm putting it on though, because she'll freak. I think I've got my wallet actually. Is my wallet knocking about? Probably not. Be in Deborah's bag. Actually, no, I think I've got it. The picture's in there, but it'll be very ropey. Oh, where is it, man? No, I thought my wallet was there. That'll be one for a different video. The Deb's dressed as Austin Powers. You heard it here first. Red Room Antics says, how's the Amy Adams collection going along? Well, it's not too bad. I've got a few. I haven't got them all. It's one of the ones where you think of when I'm in CEX, I'll just pick up one if it's cheap, because usually you can get them quite cheap. I just think that she's a brilliant actress, and I think everything I've seen her in has just been great. And I think that she's just someone who's like her in the Mountain Office, and I love her in that Enchanted. I think she does the best thing they've ever seen. If somebody pretending to be, well, not pretending to be a princess, a Disney princess, and she comes into the real world, that's a brilliant spin. I remember seeing it on TV and it come on, I went, oh, what's this rubbish? Just about to turn it off, and I went, hang on a minute, what's this? Is quite funny. And I watched it all, and I had to get it on Blu-ray for about £1, actually, believe it or not. So Kermit's Ghost, hi Jan, you all right? Hi John, how's life treating you, mate? It's treating us very well. I hope it's treating you very well as well. And with your great collection. You haven't seen Kermit Store's collection, which I'd imagine everybody has. Get yourself over his channel and check out his collection, especially his shelves. It's got, to me, the shelves are the best shelves ever because the way that it's set up. I just think it's just his collection is just absolutely brilliant. And although you probably know that himself, but yes, I'm doing well. I hope you are as well. Red Romantics, I've got a full Margot Robbie collection for me. She's probably what Amy Adams is to you. Oh, well, that's fair enough. To be honest, the movies I've seen of Margot Robbie are quite good. I think she's a good actress. I think I've only seen her in a few things, but everything I've seen her in, she's memorable. And I thought she was great as forgotten the name, the Harley Quinn. So I want to see her, the Birds of Prey movie, which is it Birds of Prey? I want to see that one because I think the character was that good. I know some people slate it, but I think, well, it may be all right just to watch her in that. But yeah, so I think everyone's got a sort of I think everyone's got a people or something that you'd like gravitate to for whatever reason, and just like that actor or actress. And I would say for me, Amy Adams and what else she's called off the American Office, Aubrey Plaza. I think she's brilliant. I love her movies, and I would, to be honest, when you try and get the movies, they're not easy to find. The one of the ones where you think, are these ever going to get released? There's Ingrid Goes West, which was brilliant, and that's just, you can't get that, and you've got to pay like £1 million for it in Blu-ray, which is just insane. So yes, I think it's good to have people that you really enjoy and you want to get like all of the work if you can. The work. I sound like a bit like a movie critic. T-Bag says Slayer and Anthrax are fantastic. First concert I ever went to was Slayer's Farewell Tour in 2018. Yes, that's the one we went to. Iron Maiden were fantastic in Belfast this June. Played all of their biggest hits. That's brilliant. It's good that now I know most of Iron Maiden's hits, and if I went to like say an Iron Maiden show and they played like a few deep cuts or a lot of deep cuts off the albums, you would think, you want to hear hits, don't you? And Slayer and Anthrax, they do give you they do put some new songs in there, but majority of the songs is all your classics that you want. And when you're sitting there, and especially, I don't know if it was the same with you, T-Bags, I would imagine it is, that when they had them, the Slayer, they had this fire show on, which was, that's my phone, we had this fire thing on with the flames. I've seen nothing like it. It was in time with the music, and it was a spectacle itself. And you were watching Hell Awaits and Angel of Death. Just to see that in like person with someone else. And then of course Anthrax, when they did Antisocial, that was brilliant. One of my favorite songs of all time. I know it's not an Anthrax song, but yeah. But it's great. And that farewell tour, if it ever is, I think they're going to do something else. I can't say that Slayer would call it quits. I think they're going to come back in some shape or form. Maybe not do a world tour, but they're going to do they'll do some. They can't just do nothing else. I can't imagine. Sinjin, hiya Sinjin, you all right? Hey John, I've just joined and I'm going to have to watch a catch up. Excuse me. Yeah, by all means, and it's great you've got the catch up option, haven't you? And it's funny. I mean, I know I start this at 10:30, although it always says when you say I'm coming on 10:30 or 7 o'clock at night, it'll come on at 6. It says on the, I don't know if anyone else has seen this, but it always says it's going to start at 6 o'clock. Or it says it's going to start 9:30 for me, and I'm thinking, why is it always like an hour out? I know people probably know that it's not that way now, but and it does change eventually to 10:30. But why does it not do it when you say? Because all my settings tell them I'm in the UK. Anyway, but yeah, so that'll be great. So Kermit's Ghost, Alan says, thanks, Johnny, I appreciate that. Well, to be honest, Alan, you know that I've been a big fan of your channel from day one. Well, not from your day one, but from my day one. And that was before I had my channel. Really enjoy your stuff, really enjoy your presentation. And I also enjoy the fact that when you said it was always good, but when you put them shells in, that was when I said, I mean, if I could imagine the Deb's face when I say, tell you what, I'm going to do this with the shells. I'll be out my ear. But I think, I'm not just saying that, you've got like the best setup for that. I just think it's what I would like. If I could get a room, a dedicated room, I know I have sort of got one, but if I could get one, say if I did this room and it was all done with it, it would be exactly the same as that. That would be like the blueprint. So yeah, so it's just a brilliant setup and a brilliant brilliant channel, brilliant everything actually. So St. says, what have I missed? Only joking. Well, just talking, just the usual, just talking stuff for 2 hours. Wow, 2 hours, you're joking. I thought it was about an hour. It's amazing this, this, well, I've said it all the time, how this just flies over, but it's absolutely brilliant. I do like the fact of, the fact is that, because the comments are coming in, but they're not coming in as much as they would with like an evening stream, so you get a more chance to spend a bit more time on the stuff, talk to everybody who's on here. Also, and you can kind of, have a chit chat, which is great. Have a catch up as well, because I am going to do this every month because that's how I set this up now with this thumbnail. So every time you see this, the thumbnail I put on this one, which was actually taken in 2009, when I was standing upstairs next to the old window that was taken out. The old weird glass that looks a bit like the sea. It was horrible glass, but I took that photograph in black and white, just for whatever reason. I think it was for a Mondo Chelloveck album that never came out. So that's, when you see that thing, you'll know it's going to be one of these ones. And they're going to be probably in the morning, but I might do an evening one. Although it might be too hard to get through the comments, maybe. Rob Gray. Hi, Rob, you all right? Hi, John. Have you seen the new Munsters film? A lot of people don't like it, but we enjoyed it. It looks great on Blu-ray too. Now, funny enough, I remember Keith saying it was, he said that how many teeth are coming out? The trailer looked awful. So I went and looked at it and I thought it did look pretty bad, but there's a few things and I thought, there's a few things I could like about it. I do think it's a love or hate movie. I do love the Munsters, the TV show. And I'm interested in seeing it, actually. I'm thinking I'll get it on streaming somewhere. Check it out. But it'd be interesting to, I will want to watch it, actually, but it's good to hear that you think it was all right and you enjoyed it. And I know you can be playing a gig in December, so think about going, mate. I had a great time the last time. Me and Michael, where's me ladders, Michael? Actually, where's me ladders, Michael? Me ladders now, he brought them back yesterday, and they're in there. They're in me hallway, ready to be used, because I've got something to look at in front of my house. So I need me ladders back. And he was like humming and hawing, saying, this is a bit unreal, like taking this back again. It's the mine, man, not yours. So he said he'd make you stepping down from being saying, where's me ladders, on the video. And I says, well, so we're probably going to have to do a video of why he's, spat his dummy out, maybe. Where's me dummy? Tom says, I remember dressing up as Dr. Evil for fancy dress while at work. Also Frankenfurter. Try running a bar in heels and suspenders. Wow. Yeah, that would be pretty hard to do, I could imagine. I couldn't imagine me ever doing that. Dr. Evil, yes. Kermis Ghost Allen says, for me, I'm trying to collect Bruce Willis's entire film collection on Blu-ray. He's putting out films faster than I can order them. I'll tell you what. I know I know the reason, because before I knew about Bruce Willis's health problems, every time he walked in HMV, there was another one, and I'd said, this is getting beyond the joke. I know he's done this in the way to sort of make his family financially stable, because obviously he had to pay for medical things and all that. So I can understand, I can appreciate what he's doing. But yeah, wow, I tell you what, you got your work cut out for you there, Alan, because to me, I don't know how you would even do that. Do they even come out on Blu-ray? Because I know a lot of them come out on DVD. So yeah, that would be, I'll tell you what, that'll be a hard one. You don't say somebody says, I'm going to collect such and such by whatever, Clint Eastwood, for instance. You think, well, that's pretty doable for the most part. You might struggle on some things. And, excuse me, things like Bruce Willis, you would think, before you say, it's an easy thing to do. These days, though, I think that'd be quite difficult. So I would imagine you stop making movies now, so you would be able to collect them at one point. You would have to come to an end of his career pretty soon, I would imagine, unless she's done a lot in the can, shall we say. But that's going to be a tough one. I'd be interested to know if you ever do that actually in the future, Alan. Teabags. I remember Slayer's farewell fire show well. I had never seen anything like it. I love the Heineken logo, and turned into Hyman for the Henneman for the Angel of Death. Yeah, that was amazing. That, I mean, it was funny because Deborah really didn't understand the whole thing about when he died and what we're actually watching and who was in, who wasn't in. I played Slayer in the car quite a bit. I don't know if she particularly likes it, but there's things when she sort of, I play Rain and Blood all the time, the album. So she's kind of familiar with some of the songs. They did play a lot of the stuff from Rain and Blood, and obviously the song Rain and Blood as well. But I still think she was quite bemused by the whole thing. And also as well, there was Lamb of God were on. I think Lamb of God would probably be some you saw as well. Didn't much care for them. I didn't really care for this gent music, the gent, whatever it's how you ever say it, which is just like dun 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 dun. As it was a bit like monotonous. I found there wasn't many tunes in it. We didn't see the first band. We actually couldn't get in for the first band because it was taking that long to get through the styles. So we missed the first fella, the first ones that were on. I can't remember the call now. Actually, I would like to have seen them, Behemoth or something like that. But they were more death metal. But anyway, yeah, the fire show was insane. And I'll tell you what I quite liked at the start when the curtains were up and they had the big crosses and they had this big sort of like projection of crosses on the actual screen. I think it was 4 of them or 3 of them. And music was coming on. They had this like entrance music, and then the crosses turned upside down. I thought that was brilliant. That like was really in that, like, the pentagrams shining through the curtains. That was brilliant. That like it was a bit of an event actually, and so glad I saw them because maybe I'll never get the chance again. Wow. Cy Robson says, "Have you been to watch the Banshees of Inner Sharon? Is that right? I can't. Inner Sharon. I'm doing this. I mean, I'm trying to get this around my glasses, but I think that's absolutely. Yes, he's absolutely loved it. Now that's the one with. I know who the actors are. They were in Bruges together, weren't they? And I remember seeing it. I thought, hang on, that's them two of Colin Farrell and is it Gleeson? I think he's called. 2 Irish fellas, and I thought that looks, because In Bruges is one of my favorite films of all time. So I thought, right, I will definitely check that out. I don't know enough of it to see if I can get the Debs involved with it, but if she could, I would like to see her to come along with something like that. But I'm glad to hear that if you like that. I think that you would. That's a good heads up to see if I would care it for or not. Excuse me. Kumis Ghost, Alan says, I don't know why, but the thumbnail looks like a U2 album cover. Well, it kind of does, doesn't it? I know what you mean. It's a bit like one of them, what are they called again? When Angel of Harlem and stuff like that. In that period. I know what you're saying. It was actually, to be honest, I think it was one of those ones where you're just wandering around in the house and you were looking for a bit of a artistic photograph, and I come across the fact of standing next to that window that's up there. It's still there, but it's not like, hasn't got that glass in it. And I just took this photograph and put it in a black and white. And I think because I wanted one with just one, it was just an artistic thing. It was me just being a bit like that in 2000. Maybe that's maybe 2009 mode. Anyway, but yeah, I know what you're saying. Actually, it's got Mondo Chelloveck on the corner, but you can't see it. The thumbnail cuts that off, which I was a bit annoyed with. Never mind. Might write into YouTube. I'm sure I'll get a reply on that one. Sinjin, we can't say where's my ladders anymore because we know where they are now. Yeah. So I'm going to, when I go back to work, I will say, Michael, I will say, right, we're going to have to sort of bookend this. And he may do a little piece to camera where he talks about his ladders. So keep an eye out for that one because you'll be whinging about it. But the fact is, my ladders, they're not his. They never have been it. And he pestered us for them ladders, and then he made them his own. I'm thinking, right, I've got to get them back because I've got to get up on the the front of the house has got this painting to be done. I've got to do it. I'm going to do it this week, I think. Alan says, Kermis Ghost says, I've ordered his last dozen films from Norway, Australia, America, and Germany. I know, with a shocked face. Well, you're right there, because I would imagine, Alan, they're the ones on Blu-ray that you would want to have. Because, like I say, when I go on HMV and I look around and I see a movie of his, and I think, you know, I have got a lot of Deborah's I think Deborah's favorite actor is Bruce Willis. She was gutted when she found out the news about his health problems, and I think he's made some great films. And I do think of him as he's made some duds, mine, in the past, but he's made some absolutely cracking movies, and it's just a shame that it's come to this part. It is a bit of a shame, and I have got from 4K Chef. He gave me Death Wish, which I didn't really want to watch, but then when I've heard about this, I did want to start watch some of his movies. I think we've got a few downloaded on Sky, which we're going to check out. And but yeah, so that's Deborah's favorite film actor. So she was gutted to find the news out, and she's probably going to be more than gutted, you know, for the eventuality of the whole thing. And Teabag says, first band was Obituary, I believe. Yeah, that's right. I was really interested in seeing them, actually, but it was one of them ones where by the time I got there, by the time I got through this turnstiles, and your time you got your sort of, you know, when you're standing there and they're doing all this and patting you down as if you're going to walk them, well, you know, with a bomb or something like that, some craziness. We didn't get a chance to get there by the time we got our seats, unfortunately. But yeah, so we did see Anthrax, so that was amazing. No, Anthrax were playing when we went in, which was a bit of a shame. I do think that Anthrax should have been above Lamb of God, because maybe Anthrax is part of the big four with Slayer. And Megadeth, who I'm not that keen on, if I'm honest, I wouldn't want to go and see them. And Metallica, who I've had the chance, I had the chance to go and see Metallica in 1988 in the City Hall in Newcastle, and I honestly said, can't be bothered. And they were playing with Danzig, the band Danzig from the Misfits. And to me to turn that down, I just, looking back, and I thought, you absolutely, if anyone says what's your biggest regret in music is not going to see Metallica and Danzig at the City Hall in 1988, well, I've got a bootleg of it and video of it, actually. And it, not the same though, is it? So what I'll do is now, we're coming up to 2 hours, 17 minutes. Wow. And I've had a great time, actually. And I hope people have enjoyed just having a bit of chat and, you know, just talking about whatever comes up. And so I think I'm going to go and do a video tonight. And if I do it, if I get it done, it will come out tonight. If it doesn't, then it's not one coming out, but it will come out this week. I think I might have one out before the live stream with Nige and Michael. So if I don't get a one out tonight or before then, my next video will be the live stream with Nige and Michael. So that should be fun, and that'll start at 7 o'clock till whenever. And really, really interested in doing that, to have this sort of a different one with Nige, to have you know, talking more about just other stuff that we haven't really talked about, because we really do focus on the video nasties on them streams and not much else. So it'll be a good chance to talk about other things as well. So anyway, I'll leave it there, and I just want to thank everybody for coming along. And there might be another video or two from us this week. Maybe not. I don't know. Depends if I can do one in the time when I leave here. I've got to do some shopping as well, I've been told. So that's, you know, that's my day. Never mind. So that's life, isn't it? So thanks once again, and I will see you. Definitely next stream is going to be one of these next month in November. Can't think when it is. Teabags first. Sorry. Kermis Ghost, Alan. Bye everybody. Thanks, Alan, for coming along. Sinjin, have a good one. Bye, John. Catch you later. Cheers. And Red Room Antics, have a good one. Cheers, mate. Appreciate all that. And I'll see you on the live stream on Friday to talk to, but you may get a couple of more videos anyway. So thanks once again for coming along. You take care, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.